football on Prime Sports Northwest is brought to you in part by Rainier Beer.
Bad to the Bone. Bad to the Bone is not only a hit song, it is the hit song for the third-ranked Washington Huskies. And hit they do. Defensively, they play the game at an almost superhuman level. But that slogan is not reserved for just the defense. Don James has an offense that is equally as impressive. One that rolls to 45 points a game. Around here, Husky fever runs high. At Arizona, the battle cry is and always has been bear down. But even Dick Tomey is a realist. He knows for his Wildcats to have any chance, they'll have to spring fullback Billy Johnson some way. And then get a big day from freshman tailback sensation Chuck Levy. When Arizona runs, they too can be bad to the bone. In the shadows of Mount Rainier, today it's Arizona and Washington. Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington, where Prime Network presents the Pac-10 Game of the Week. Today, the third-ranked Huskies of Washington host the Arizona Wildcats. It is an absolutely gorgeous afternoon for college football here in Seattle, a place where, quite frankly, the population base seems to be affected with the same ailment, namely Husky fever. A man who knows an awful lot about that ailment. He suffered from it for years here as that former Husky quarterback, Don Heinrich. And Don, if you listen to the odds makers, they may as well not even play this football game. Washington installed as a 29-point favorite.
Well, as you know, Phil, the ball does take funny bounces, a well-used term, but against this Husky team, Arizona's had pretty good success.
You talk about Arizona, Don. Let's look at their game notes. Last week against Long Beach State, they owned the ground game.
Well, they prefer to run the football, but they have improved their passing game significantly, despite the fact that they're 8th in the conference in throwing the football. They will have to be effective today in order to have any success. And injuries start playing a big part this time of the year. They have 8 projected starters out. 6 freshmen will start in their place. They may make some mistakes, Phil, but you can rest assured they'll fly around and hit people, and you can make things happen when you do that.
The Washington Husky game notes show one thing crystal clear. They are balanced and they are monstrous on offense.
Well, they are, but they also are extremely tough on defense. Now, that 48.7 yards means they average 1.5 yards against teams running the football on them. Not very much. And turnovers, they create a lot of them. They are +8. They lead the conference, and they have been very opportunistic with that.
When you talk about Washington a year ago, Greg Lewis was the tailback. He was Mr. Offense. They did everything they could to get their ball in his hands. And now here in 1991, Don James has done a 180. He wants to do everything he can to get the ball into the hands of their outstanding young quarterback, Billy Joe Hobert.
Well, Billy Joe has become really successful in these 3 games. His experience each week has proven itself. He can move the football and can run it. He's big. He's 6'3" and weighs about 2 1/4.
Don, on offense, they are indeed a load. But the third man on our broadcast team, Gene Washington, is standing by down on the playing field. Gene, defensively, they are monstrous as well.
Well, Phil, there's an old football truism that I've come to believe in more and more, and that is you entertain on offense, but you win on defense. And that's certainly the case when you talk about the Washington Huskies. They have the best defense in the Pac-10. They have the best defensive player in the Pac-10. At 6'4", a 280-pound Steve Entman terrorizes the opposition. He has an incredible combination of speed, strength, and agility. He is a legitimate candidate for the Outland Trophy, emblematic of the best college football player in the country at the line position. Arizona may run away from him, and the more you think about it, that's not a bad idea. Let's get back upstairs to you guys.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Gene, they might try and run away from Steve Entman, but there's 10 other Huskies they got to worry about, too. You know, the Huskies really believe they can win this football game and win it big. Likewise, the Wildcats of Arizona. Earlier, I talked to Wildcat head coach Dick Tomey. He thinks a win is not out of the question.
Well, every time we get on the plane to go someplace or play somebody, we believe we can win, and we believe we can win this week. But you have to, obviously, we have to create a lot of mistakes on their part, fumbles, turnovers, some things that are not characteristic of them, and then take advantage of those things. But, you know, obviously they can't. We got to force them not to play their best game.
Get it.
Well, I'd say at this point, you know, based on the last 2 years, I'd say this is as good a team as I've ever seen in the Pac-10. right up there with the SC teams that were very, very good and undefeated, and all the other great teams in Pac-10 history.
Don, you know these Huskies well. Can the Wildcats compete today?
Well, they can. They're going to have to play a perfect ball game, but they're also going to have to make a big play on special teams.
Now Arizona 2-2. Washington, number 3 in the nation, is undefeated. Coming up next, in the shadows of Mount Rainier, the Huskies and the Cats. The Pac-10 Game of the Week is brought to you by Isuzu. Stop in now during the Isuzu Invitational. Isuzu, there's no comparison. By Coors Light, the Silver Bullet is the right beer now. By Lexus and the new ES300 Sports Sedan. By Southwest Airlines. Remember what fares were like before Southwest Airlines? By your Toyota dealer and their quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. By Great Western's family of companies, $40 billion strong. By John Hancock, real life, real answers. And by your Southern California Chevrolet and Geo dealers.
Yeah, sports and beer.
Gotta do it. Figure we get like 10.
It is sold out. It is Husky Stadium on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in the Northwest. The mountains are out to be sure, and look at that temperature, 77 degrees. It has been sunshine and clear weather for the past 5 to 6 weeks, and just look at the boats, all the yachts that pull up here along Lake Washington. Now Washington leads this series 6-2-1. The Huskies won last year, nailed down the Rose Bowl berth with the victory over the Wildcats, but the prior 3 games decided by a total of 6 points. And I'll tell you one thing, Don James knows that the man across the sideline has his number. James now, hard to believe, in his 17th year here in Husky country. Came from Kent State, was the head coach of the Golden Flashes. And there's Dick Tomey, one of the few coaches, Don, that has had James's number over the last few years.
Well, you know, he has, for whatever reason, been able to get his players to play extremely well against teams that maybe he shouldn't beat. He should have some surprises today available.
Today's kickoff is brought to you by Coors Light. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now. Arizona won the toss. They elected to defer. They will kick it away to the Huskies. Napoleon Kaufman, he is number 8, a true freshman out of Lompoc, California. And standing beside him is Tommy Smith, who's averaging 22 yards per return. And they're out of Poway, California. A northern suburb of San Diego is Jay Kirchhoff, a JC transfer. And we are set to go. 72,000 strong. We'll watch. And it is Napoleon Kaufman who will take Kirchhoff's kick 8 yards deep down on a knee. He goes, a touchback. And here come the Washington Huskies from their own 20-yard line. And they are led by that man. He is a sophomore out of Puyallup, Washington, Billy Joe Hobart. And boy, what a cast of characters. Hobart, only a sophomore, came on in the spring to replace an injured Mark Brunell. And Mario Bailey, the speedster, out of Franklin High School right here in Seattle. And boy, what a bevy of skilled offensive performers for Washington. And that line, it is veteran, it is big, and they can flat out play. Billy Joe Hobart in the first offensive play here at his own 20-yard line. Now the Huskies shifting into the I. And the man through the hole is number 29, Bino Bryant, the junior from Dorsey High School in Los Angeles. And boy, first play from scrimmage, and already they are mixing it up. Arizona plays the favored 3-4. Ty Parton is now a defensive tackle. He is a good one, and he'll be tested all day long. The linebacking core, Charlie Camp, is the guy who nails down that linebacking core, and by that I mean virtually everybody else has been decimated with injuries. And Tony Boyd is the free safety out of New Orleans. On second down, it is Bino Bryant again, this time following Chris Rongan and Ed Cunningham through the left side. Heath Bray from the middle linebacker spot brings him down. There's a good look at Heath Bray. He had started the first 3 games for Arizona at free safety. But because of those injuries I spoke of, Don, Bray has been forced into a linebacker's role.
Well, you know, they have small linebackers, particularly on the inside. They go more with speed and quickness. As a result, you can expect the Huskies to run at them with their big offensive guards.
Washington with 4 wide receivers. It is 3rd and 6. It is over overthrown. Holbert's pass intended for Orlando McKay, and it wasn't even close. Great pressure on Holbert from Jimmy Hopkins, number 82.
Well, Jimmy Hopkins just drilled Holbert. Nobody touched him. The first series of downs here, 3 plays, the Arizona Wildcats have used a combination of fronts, essentially 4 down linemen. That time they had 8 people up at the line of scrimmage challenging the Huskies. A little bit of a change by Arizona here. So we're seeing Arizona making some adjustments, certainly defensively in the early going of this football game, showing a 4 down lineman front. Actually, it was a 4-2 or wide tackle 6. Various combinations that people would call it for terminology, but they obviously are going to be up and put pressure on the Huskies, both in the running game and passing wise.
The Huskies will punt it away, and to handle the punting chores is the quarterback Billy Joe Holbert, second in the Pac-10, and he can flat out let it fly. And talking about fly, Terry Vaughn, he is third in the Pac-10. Standing at his own 10-yard line. Good snap. Holbert will get it away. Short spiraling punt. Vaughn will take it at the 37-yard line. Sidesteps 3 would-be tacklers, still on his feet. And into Husky territory goes Arizona's Terry Vaughn, and he is smothered by Hillary Butler. A 40-yard punt, and boy, I told you Vaughn can move. Watch the hip action here.
And watch the quickness. Look at that. He puts a leg out. He takes it away. He breaks back to the left. Then he dukes another one. And he cuts back on the inside. Tried to trip him there. But he managed to respond. Terrific balance on his part to put the Wildcats in excellent field position.
Arizona a year ago here at Husky Stadium absolutely demolished 54-10. The Cats remember. Mala'ulu on the option, nothing doing. A loss of 2, and it is Steve Emtman, the man Gene Washington spoke of just a few moments ago. Mala'ulu, the junior out of Carson, California, he sparkled against Stanford, as he did last year against UCLA on that big victory. Billy Johnson, he is the fullback. He's only 196 pounds, but as I said a few moments ago, he has got to have a big game today. And the offensive line is anchored by John Fina. Now second down and 12. In motion, Antoine Carter. Mala'ulu is nailed by Emtman. Heemsbergen and John Fina on the left side of that offensive line.
Watch number 90 come from the inside. He took a hard inside and just undressed Tagaoe on the right side to drop Mala'ulu for a loss. I tell you what, the farm boy from Cheney knows one thing. He gets a smell for quarterbacks and he goes after them. I believe that was looking at him as his 3rd quarterback sack this season, and usually he gets doubled.
Arizona says we have seen enough. They have run 2 plays from scrimmage and they have lost 7 yards. Back to Seattle in the doghouse in a moment. 0:06 to play in the first period from Seattle, Washington. The Huskies on their first possession, 3 plays and out. Arizona has run the ball twice, and that man right there has been in Mala'ulu's face both times. It is 3rd down and 17 for Arizona. Full house backfield. 5 defensive backs for Washington. Mala'ulu pressured. He'll let it fly. It is caught by Vaughn. Vaughn has it. Out near the 41, Shane Pa'ukoa and Dana Hall converge on the tackle. A big 3rd down play for Arizona.
Good job by Terry Vaughn. You see him make the move to the inside. The mistake right there Dana Hall makes is look back in the backfield. He doesn't really see that initial break to the inside. As a result, he's slow responding back.
A pickup of 15. They still lack 1st down yardage. It is 4th and 2, and here is Adam Grant. And look for him to either kick it into the end zone or look for the coffin corner, as that man right there has 4 career punt returns for touchdowns. He got his 4th a week ago.
Maybe a fake. He didn't.
And we've got a penalty marker down. Grant went down, I thought, almost on a knee to pick that ball up. It's going to be, there's a flag down.
He did. The ball was snapped a little low, but I think it might have been a little bit slow. Might have taken too much time.
against Arizona, and that might have been intentional in that it gives Grant a little more room to look for that coffin corner. The one thing that Arizona does not want to do today, they do not want Bean O'Brien to get his hands on a punt return at any cost.
So what is it? He's got 4 returned for touchdowns, which ties the Pac-10 record. And I think the national record is something like 7. So he is dangerous. He returned one against them last year, I think, for 73 yards.
4th down in a bunch. Again, a good snap, no pressure. Graham this time is going to try and kick it into the end zone over Bryant's head, and it may be down. No, almost a 46-yard punt. Utu McCann almost kicked that ball out to about the 2-yard line, but simply could not get possession. So the clock stops with 11:05 to play here in the first quarter. Well, today, top 5, Syracuse. They were ahead of Florida State early, and then the Seminoles punched in. Amply, Casey Weldon and company, and now lead the Orangemen 39-14 in the 4th. Miami all over the Cowboys 40-3. Of course, we're watching the Huskies. Tennessee, the Volunteers are off, and Oklahoma beat Iowa State Cyclones 29-8. From the 20-yard line, Billy Joe Hobart under pressure is hit as he releases the ball. It is in and out of the hands of Orlando McKay. A normally very sure-handed McKay, I think, heard footsteps. He had the ball and could not draw it in.
Well, the ball was thrown a little bit behind him. Had he caught that ball, he had big yardage. Now, Hobart takes a big blow right there. They had a corner blitz on, as you see him getting hit just as he is throwing the football, and he takes a fall right there. Probably saw that coming from William Dixon just before he let it go and caused him to throw a little bit behind Orlando.
3rd time already here in the first 4 minutes that Hobart has been pressured. There's the draw. Bean O'Brien is tripped up behind the line of scrimmage, and the man who got to him is Teddy Brucey. He is a true freshman, pressed into service by that rash of injuries that Don Heinrich spoke of at the opening of our telecast.
You know what you have to consider right now, Phil, is that Arizona is using a lot of different things up front. Combinations of stunts. That time they had linemen crossing. They're using some blitzes, the corner blitz the play before. They're giving Washington a lot of different looks. It's going to take them a little while to figure out exactly what the Cats are doing.
3rd down and 12. Hobart looking right. Now can head upfield. Across the 25 out near the 27. And smooth as he hit from behind hard by Charlie Kemp. Jay Phillips was the first man to him, and Kemp came in to finish him off. He'll be short of first down yardage by about 2. And for the 2nd time in 2 possessions, the Huskies are going to have to punt it away.
You know, another thing you have to consider right here, with Hobart being their punter, he's taken a hit on the blitz that was pretty good, shook him up. Now this time running, now he gets back up. He's got to kick the football. He's averaging about 40 yards a kick, but it could bother him.
Gary Vaughn with a 16-yard return a moment ago is back to receive the punt. And again, it is a short punt. Vaughn will fair catch it at the 38-yard line. And for the 2nd time in as many possessions, Arizona guaranteed outstanding field position. To Husky Stadium in Seattle, along with Don Heinrich and Gene Washington, I'm Phil Stone. Thus far, Washington with 2 possessions, and it has been a pair of punts. And for the 2nd time in this ball game, the Wildcats will go on offense. On their first possession, George Mala'ulu, the Arizona Wildcat quarterback, treated rather rudely. I think, though, to be totally honest, Don, he'd better get used to it today.
Yeah, but his numbers are up. As you can see there, a 56% passer. 5 touchdown passes. That's as many as they had all last season. So that's 5 in 3 games. So he has improved.
Now from the eye, it is Billy Johnson, the up back. Chuck Levy is into the ballgame for the first time today. Mala'ulu absolutely nowhere to go. Andy Mason smothers him. And I'll tell you, they had 3 guys around Johnson and Levy, the pitch men.
Yeah, well, you look at Steve Entman, who leads that group right there, and Rogers and Mason. Now, what he did with those linebackers is give them a different look, led by Donald Jones in that category. Chico Fraley, a big play guy, and the DBs who have excellent quickness in that secondary. So Dana Hall leads that unit. What they did on the last play is they tried to run away from the overload of the Huskies, but the quickness came right back and dropped them.
2nd down and a little more than 9. Mala'ulu on the 3 three-step drop. He's going down for the second time in this ball game, and it is Tommy Smith on the free safety blitz, and he fumbled the ball. Washington has got it. The Huskies recover.
And he came around from the outside, and Mala'ulu, the left-hander, it was really a blindside from his standpoint. He never saw it coming, and he lost the ball underneath that pileup. Smith, the initial contact, and then 2 or 3 other Huskies in on the play. Smith was originally a starting safety.
Mason with the recovery. He had 3 sacks a week ago. They say he's undersized. He got on the ball in a hurry.
Well, you see number 15. That's Tommy Smith coming around that makes the play to start with. And then, of course, Mason comes up with it. But you see a lot of purple jerseys around it. And that's what the Dogs do. Create turnovers and generally capitalize. Great field position.
Orlando McKay splits wide to the right. Bailey is wide left. First down from the 34 of Arizona. There's the quick 3-step pass out to the left side. It is Mario Bailey. And he is chased out by Richard Holt.
You know, Phil, it's interesting. Arizona's challenging the Huskies. They're playing man-for-man coverage on the outside against those quick receivers of the Dogs. And Washington has yet to take advantage. Of course, it's early with Bailey and McKay. That time, the little quick short pass. But they're getting 8 people up in there trying to attack the Huskies. Sooner or later, Washington's going to take advantage of that, go for the big play.
Jay Barry is into the ballgame at tailback. He has the football. And first down yardage to the 19-yard line of Arizona. Jay Barry, the junior out of North Glen, Colorado. Let's go down on the field now, and Gene Washington.
Well, Bill, you've heard about the 12th man all around the country. Nowhere in this country is the 12th man bigger than right here at Husky Stadium. Over 70,000 fans, and Arizona certainly doesn't want to get this group any more riled up than they already are. Let's get back upstairs to you guys.
First down, Jones in motion. It is Jay Barry who tries the right side, and why not? He's running it up behind Jim Novell and Supi Malamala.
You know, something that has changed the thinking, I have to believe, for the Huskies is they came into this football game expecting to run at the smaller inside linebackers of Arizona. Now, Arizona has countered by using 4 down linemen, where in the past they've used 3 down linemen, and they're able to cover those linebackers a little bit. Harder to get to them, so the Dogs are going to have to make an adjustment in the running game.
Second down and 9 from the I. Again, it is Barry. As he juke steps his way inside the 15 down near the 13, it is Tony Bowie, the redshirt freshman from New Orleans, who moves up to make the stop. Jay Barry, his dad is Odell Barry, who played for the Denver Broncos. Interesting story about Jay Barry. At the age of 4, he wanted to show what a big kid he was. He once jumped out of a window. Only problem was the window was 35 feet off the ground. On third down and 3, and there he goes there. This time he won't have to jump high. He'll go long for the touchdown. Jay Barry from 13 yards away.
Well, that is Jay Barry's 6th touchdown of the season. He was averaging better than 6.5 yards a carry coming into this ball game. Big hole on that left side behind Lincoln Kennedy, and he just rolled it into the end zone. Put a little move on, and 6 points, as you see right there.
This is Travis Hansen. For the point after, he has got it. And the Huskies, with 7 minutes and 15 seconds to play here in the first period, following George Mala'ulu's fumble, have gotten on the scoreboard. Jay Barry, 13-yard scamper around the left side. Nobody home as he goes in untouched.
Well, you know, that shows you the depth of these Huskies, starting with the running back as well as a lot of other positions, Phil. Dean O'Brien was the original starter for the Huskies, and due to an injury, unfortunately, Barry got the start, but they split time.
Now you look after 4 games, California is 2-0, 4-0 overall, as they have beaten UCLA today, coming from behind late in the 4th quarter to get that victory. Washington 3-0 overall. A victory today would send the Huskies into a first-place tie with the Bears, who incidentally will meet in 2 weeks at Memorial Stadium in Berkeley.
You know, that's about the first time in something like 18 years that Cal has has beaten UCLA in Los Angeles. You're right, there was 8 minutes to go. UCLA was leading 24-14, so Cal exploded.
There's the kick. It is picked up on a couple of hops, or pounced on at the 15-yard line. A little confusion down there. Lamar Lovett covered it. Now there's Billy Joe Hobart and Orlando McKay talking things over. And there's Mark Brunell, who just sat down. Brunell was the incumbent as spring practice began, but it has been well documented. Brunell went out on a non-contact injury during spring practices with the anterior cruciate ligament. And as is so often the case, the front runner, sidelined by injury, never finds his way back into the lineup.
Yeah, well, right now, Chuck Levy, a very important part of the Arizona offense, at running back and receiver, is out because of an injury.
There is Antoine Carter. He is a true freshman. A year ago, Don, he was playing high school ball in Pacoima, California. But I'll tell you, he has tremendous quickness if he can get to the open field. Witness what he did last week.
No question. And he only weighs 171 pounds, and that's probably being generous. He is Chuck Levy's backup. Levy, a redshirt freshman, significantly bigger, can do it all, but they miss him. They're a nice group to be able to draw on.
Talking about missing Chuck Levy, he is suffering from a sprained ankle. Mala'ulu this time will roll left, got a receiver on the sideline. In and out of the hands of Antoine Carter, and boy, Walter Bailey, I mean, tattooed him.
Well, as Mala'ulu starts to run, you can see number 3 Bailey come across, 23 Bailey come across there, and he just drills him. That'll stiffen your spine a little bit. I think that might have something to do with why he didn't hang on to the football. He knew he was coming.
It is now 3rd down and 8 from the 19-yard line. Arizona shows 4 wide receivers. Mala'ulu, quarterback draw. He won't find much. He is grabbed around the ankles by guess who? Steve Empman with help from Chico Fraley. Boy, a year ago, Chico Fraley against this Wildcat team had 12 tackles. And there goes that defensive unit for Washington. And let's listen. Adam Grand will kick it away. Is standing at his own 6-yard line. Bino Bryant at his 43. And I look for Grand to get this one out of bounds. They do not want Bryant handling the ball on returns. Tried to get it to the right side. He's got Bryant going way back. Finally turns around at the 19. Good downfield coverage by Arizona. Oh my, Bino Bryant certainly not accustomed to that kind of treatment, and it is Udo McCann who brings him down. Now during the Isuzu Invitational, Isuzu, there's no comparison. By Coors Light, the Silver Bullet is the right beer now. And by Southwest Airlines. Remember what fares were like before Southwest Airlines? Now you are looking at our broadcast position, that yacht in the center of your screen, or so we wish. 5:43 to play in the first quarter. It is Washington following the fumble by George Mala'ulu. Jay Berry took it 13 yards in on the 3rd play from scrimmage, and that is where we stand. Lake Washington is a parking lot today.
Looks like a marina out there, doesn't it?
Oh.
How about a boat parking concession? Just running them back and forth from their boat up to the dock here. What a way to go to a ball game. I've done that a couple times here, Phil. It's a lot of fun.
When you were playing?
No. They gave me a boat when I was playing.
There is Billy Joe Hobart on the year. 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. And look at that completion percentage, 64%. There's a little quick pitch to Mac Jones, the sophomore fullback out of Portland, and Teddy Brucey, the true freshman, is not fooled. There's a guy who is solid. He is dependable. I'll tell you, they say he practices exactly like he plays on game day. A gain of 2. It will be 2nd down and 8 as the clock continues to turn here. First period, 5:12 to play. Jay Berry, as he tries to crack it in behind Pete Gallagher and Supeli Malamali, and gains 1, maybe 2. Berry Berry now, 5 rushes for 30 yards, and there is Don James. We sat with him for the better part of a half hour yesterday, and look at those conference wins. He has 84, by far the winningest coach in the Pac-10.
And the most wins in the Pac-10 by a Pac-10 coach. Covers a lot of years.
3rd down and 6.
8-man front. Here they come.
Hobart has time. He has got Mario Bailey at the 49-yard line. Richard Holt just a step and a half behind, but to Billy Joe Hobart's credit, he led Bailey perfectly.
Yes, he did. He had some hop on his fastball with that one. Watch Bailey come downfield, a little outside shake and bake, then to the inside. Richard Holt makes the same mistake. He's man for man. He looks back in the backfield, and he's got to close the ground just a little faster. But Washington's going to be taking advantage of that man for man coverage through the course of this game. They're a little slow to start on it, but they're getting to it.
Good play action. Great fake carried out. Orlando McKay has the football, and still another Husky first down at the Arizona 40-yard line. Heath Bray on coverage.
You know, Phil, here we are with 4:04 left in this first quarter. The Huskies leading 7-0. They started out essentially running or attempting to run the football against what Arizona is throwing at them by way of an 8-man front. That's man-for-man coverage on the outside with those corners. There's the numbers rushing and passing in yards per game last season and this season. But the Huskies are starting to throw, and you can see the passing dominating.
That is Jay Berry as he picks his way into the Arizona 38-yard line. That's a good point you make. That graphic showed clearly a year ago with Mark Brunell handling the quarterbacking chores. Washington not nearly the force through the airways as they have become here in 1991 with Billy Joe Hobart.
Well, Hobart is probably the better passer as general consensus. On the other hand, you know, you look at Brunell, he's the more effective guy running the football.
To the left, it is McKay. Bailey is split wide to the right. Play action. Hobart looking deep. Now moves to his right, still with plenty of time. Look at the way the Huskies hold their blocks. Pass is almost intercepted by Charlie Camp, who 2 weeks ago against Cal had 16 tackles.
Now, that was a bad decision on Hobart's part. They had good coverage in the secondary. They did an excellent job. But Hobart, as he scrambled around, was trying to throw the football away, forced it in there, and almost got it picked off.
Hobart now 5 of 6 for 40 yards. It is 3rd down and 7. Hobart looking to the left side. Now throws. It is almost caught and almost intercepted. Richard Holt and Curtis Gaspard, the senior from New Orleans, number 17. I tell you, that was a jump ball.
Yeah, Richard Holt played that absolutely perfect. As Gaspard came down and broke to the inside, watch the right side of your screen. You'll see him break into the picture, and there comes Holt to break in front of him, anticipating the football. And the Huskies dodged one right there. Excellent play on defense.
To punt it away, Billy Joe Hobart. It is 4th down and 7 from the 37-yard line of Arizona. I'm not certain the Wildcats are convinced the Huskies are going to let this one fly. Hobart, but he'll do it. Straight up in the air it goes, angling for the far sideline. It bounces at the 17, takes an Arizona bounce, continues to bounce, and is finally covered at the 33. Whoa, my. A 5-yard punt. Can you believe it? 2:47 to play. Arizona has been the recipient of a couple of great field position opportunities and has been unable to do a thing with it. Boy, you look at the kind of day we have here in Seattle. There is the upset at UCLA. The Bruins led by 10 with 8 minutes to play. California came back and beat them. And look at this one. Washington State. Mike Price all over the Beavers of Oregon State. And it is Oregon leading New Mexico State by a bunch in the 4th. 1st and 10, Arizona from the 33. They have done nothing with the football. Mala'ulu. At the line of scrimmage, he is finding life difficult. Donald Jones and DeMarco Farr combine on the stop.
Well, they claim they jerked the football away and took it away from him underneath that pile, but it was well after the play was over. And you can rest assured that Mala'ulu is going to get a lot of hits today if he's going to continue to keep the ball running that option. Washington playing it extremely well. They're covering the pitch man, and they're closing on Mala'ulu.
Mala'ulu now 6 carries for -8 yards. He's finding out what Kansas State as a team found out a week ago.
Well, 15 plays for losses against Kansas State. So, yes, he is.
2nd and 10. Mala'ulu to the near sideline. It is caught by Chuck Levy on his feet across the 40, and out of bounds he goes. Dana Hall took him out at the 44-yard line. It will be near a first down for Arizona. They are very, very close on the mark.
I think he got the first down.
And they will give him the first down.
Nice throw right here. Coverage, no one there. Tommy Smith will miss the tackle right here, number 15. Catches nothing but air. That gives Levy a chance first time today to show what he can do, and he gets just enough for the first down.
Wildcat cheerleaders in hostile territory today. 72,000 fans suffering from Husky fever in this stadium this afternoon. DeMarco and Donald Jones cover Chuck Levy after a gain of maybe 1. Let's go down to Gene Washington.
Well, Phil, down here on the sidelines, one thing is very obvious, and that is this Washington defense is just dominating Arizona. In my opinion, what Arizona needs to do to move the football is to get their quarterback sprinting out to the outside where he has a chance to throw the ball downfield. I don't think the option is going to work very well, and I don't think he's going to be effective throwing from the pocket. He needs to get out on the perimeter to have a chance. Let's get back upstairs to you guys.
Gene, good point. Dana Hall and William Doctor and Walter Bailey, the corners for Washington, are simply too quick for that option. Out it goes to Levy. Can he turn the corner? He is around it across the midfield stripe, and the redshirt freshman is into Husky territory at the 43, and James Clifford jumped on with DeMarco Farr, bring him down.
Well, a little quick screen out there to the left side. Well executed. Got the lineman in front of it. The timing is perfect. As you see, Chuck Levy catching the swing pass out in front. A nice block by Lamar Lovett, number 7. And then a couple of linemen pick it up. Cuts back there. Couple of missed tackles. And some nice yardage as they move into Washington territory.
Precisely what Gene spoke of a moment ago. They've got to get the ball out in the perimeter in a hurry. Mala'ulu, 3-step drop throws on the crossing pattern. Ball intended for David Lockhart. Donald Jones just whopped Mala'ulu as he delivered the football.
He was running a quick slant in there. He had to hesitate to let his receiver clear the linebackers. And just as he got rid of the football, Donald Jones on the blitz just flat blindsided him. Incidentally, Donald Jones runs a 4.5 40. For a guy 230 pounds, that is moving. For a guy 170 pounds, that is moving.
Split to the bottom of your screen. That is David Lockhart in the slot. Washington showing man coverage here on 2nd down and 10. Mala'ulu, the draw. Billy Johnson is tripped up by Steve Empman.
They'd be better off to run away from him. Although John Fina, the big offensive left tackle, is the best athlete on that offensive line. But he's got his hands full today. Won that Bronco Nagurski Award that Dick Tomey gives to one of his players for a guy that serves double duty. In his case, he plays short yardage and goal line situations.
There's George Mala'ulu coming into today's ball game, hitting over 50% of his passes. And Gene, it's Don, pardon me, it's been a long time since Arizona has had a quarterback hitting over 50%. In fact, it's been 5 years since they've been over 47% in the passing department. So Mala'ulu is certainly getting the job done here in 1991. But against this defense, it has been very, very difficult. Other scores around the nation. 14th ranked Ohio State continues to roll as they bury the Wisconsin Badgers for the umpteenth time, 31-16 in Columbus. It was Southern Mississippi over Auburn, 10-9 in a mild upset there. Pittsburgh defeats Maryland. The Terps continue to have problems. 24-20 Panthers. North Carolina State by a touchdown over 21st ranked Georgia Tech. And Alabama, number 20, flexes a little muscle, 53-7 over Tennessee Chattanooga.
Well, Alabama, magnificent job. And John Mackovic, Illinois, the Fighting Illini, 24-3 over the Golden Gophers. So they've kept a pretty good string going there. And the last one here is Texas A&M at 37-14 over Texas Tech.
Remember all the scores and highlights of today's football action coming up at halftime on College Football Today Halftime Report. 21 seconds to play in the first quarter. Arizona on 3rd and 11. Mala'ulu again pressured, and there are dogs barking everywhere. James Clifford, the first man to get to him. But there were 7 purple and gold jerseys around Mala'ulu.
There were a whole bunch of folks. Initially, you see coming in there from the left side, but then Clifford from the inside. Clifford, a couple of years ago, was the starter for him, led the conference in tackles, and got a knee problem.
That is the end of the first quarter. Don't go away. The Huskies and the Wildcats from Seattle continues. Back to Husky Stadium. Today's first quarter notes are brought to you by Great Western. $40 billion strong. Well, the Huskies got their touchdown from Jay Berry after Andy Mason's fumble recovery. Arizona thus far in the first period, a fumble, a couple of punts on their first 3 drives. It has been Washington through the first period of play. And to punt it away, it is Adam Graham looking for the near sideline. Dean O'Brien again will have no return at all. And as I said at the outset of our telecast, that is Arizona's special teams game plan on punts, is to not let Dean O'Brien get his hands on a punt.
But they want to get a little longer kick than that if they possibly can. The Huskies will take it over at the 30-yard line.
An 18-yard punt. It comes with 14:52 to play here in the first half from jam-packed Husky Stadium on the banks of Lake Washington.
You know, you have to give credit to Arizona. We've seen them in a couple other games, Phil. They have used different combinations of coverages. Against Stanford, they use 6 and 7 defensive backs. Against Cal, they use some change-ups. Against the Huskies, they're using essentially 8-man front and man-to-man in the secondary. 2 corners and a safety.
Bailey, Gaspard, and Orlando McKay, 3 wide receivers for Washington. But this time, the give goes to Dean O'Brien. Tells the Wildcats, if you're not going to give it to me on the punt returns, I'll take it from scrimmage.
Yes, and William Dixon did an excellent job. You'll see it come off the right side. Nothing fancy. He was going to go left. He breaks it back when he sees the opening. Couple of missed tackles. Now it becomes a foot race. Then William Dixon comes flying out of the left side there to pull him out of trouble. A nice 41-yard run for the Huskies.
First down from the 29 of Arizona. Holbert, he is going for it all. Got a receiver. It is incomplete. Pass intended for Orlando McKay. Just coverage by Richard Holt.
Yeah, just off his fingertips. He did have the inside. Hobart laid it up on the outside to the wide side of the field. Good lesson for quarterbacks. That's where you want to put that football. You'll never get in trouble there. And the pass rush up front, well, not too bad, but Hobart has ample time, but that little hit right at the end could be just enough to take a little bit off. And you'll see it hit his fingertips, but he couldn't quite get the left hand in there to help out.
Orlando McKay couldn't quite pull it in. He was a qualifier for the NCAA championships at 400 meters last spring. Hobart, no pressure at all. There's the underthrow to the tight end. Aaron Pierce to the 9-yard line. Down he goes. It'll be first and goal, Washington.
Phil, that play was executed absolutely perfect. It suckered the Arizona defense. It looked like a screen. Take a look on the left side of your screen. You'll see the guard pull out. Now the tight end is blocking. That's Pierce. There he comes right there. He slow blocks. He leaves. He comes down the middle. There's a guy with 4.5 speed. He's a decathlon athlete. You think he ought to get it in the end zone. He didn't, but he got a nice big gain out of it.
First and goal, Washington. Goes Leif Johnson, sophomore fullback from Kennedy High School right here in Seattle, and he is down near the 1-yard line.
You think he wanted that touchdown with that extra effort on his part? Oh, 6'2", 215-pounder. He's only carried the ball 5 times. Look at here. Essentially zone blocking, but look at him run. Number 34. He just keeps pumping. Good body lean. One more step. He'd have taken that into the end zone. He's about 6 inches a foot short.
Second down and goal. Jay Berry will be cut down short near the goal line at about the 1-foot line.
I think his knee hit before he got to the goal line there, Phil. Good defensive play. Good penetration. would have thought they'd have come right back up the middle behind Ed Cunningham, their terrific offensive center.
Inside the 1.
13:09 to play here in the first half. It is now 3rd and goal, and that's how far they have to take it. Berry again up over the top. Did he get it? I don't think so. There are no hands in the air. It'll be 4th down and goal.
Looked like he got over and came back, Phil, but they didn't give it to him. They have a much better angle than we do.
Arizona, thus far in the first half, have lived by their motto, bear down.
Well, they got a good lift on the offensive lineman. He's hurtling across there. I don't know. It's awful close. Nice play by Charlie Camp to catch him in midair. Good job by Arizona to straighten up the offensive line.
Wildcats want to talk it over. It is 4th down and about 2 inches for Washington. Back to Seattle with more in a moment. 12 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the first half. Today's scoreboard is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. And at this moment, that scoreboard shows the 3rd-ranked Washington Huskies out in front of the Arizona Wildcats 7-0. This is the situation. Washington had 3 cracks from their own 9 and have moved it down to within about 2 inches of the goal line. It is 4th and goal, Huskies.
You'd think you could sneak it for that far, and he did.
He got it. Touchdown, Washington. That massive offensive line, Kennedy, Rongden, Ed Cunningham, Pete Caligas, and Supele Malamala simply shifted the balance of power.
Yeah, and Hobart's holding his right arm. Looks like he got popped pretty good for whatever reason. We'll have to watch and see. There's the touchdown move, and I would run right behind Ed Cunningham, the best center in the conference, but it's a good chance to get hurt when you get your other players flying in there. But we'll see. The extra point is good.
That stops the clock with 12:24 to play in the opening half. But at this moment, the concern is for number 12, Washington quarterback Billy Joe Hobert, who thus far in the first half has engineered a pair of Husky touchdowns.
Well, it'd be one of the things as you look at Mark Brunell going back to start warming up and throwing the football. Got a little bit of work last week. But Hobart's case with that shoulder, you don't know if it is the shoulder. You see all of his offensive people huddling around there to great concern. The type of play out of that sneak wasn't as though he hit the ground, but there were a lot of big bodies flying around.
Tremendous concern for Billy Joe Hobert.
As well there should be.
Jason Crabb will kick it away for Washington. Chuck Levy, he can burn it from the 1-yard line. And he was tripped up, I think, by his own teammate. The guy who will get credit for the tackle is Leif Johnson, with help from Hillary Butler. So a return of 16, possibly 17 yards. It'll be first down for Arizona at their own 17-yard line. Now Washington takes a 14-0 lead, going 70 yards, and it took them less than 2.5 minutes to get that real estate. Billy Joe Hobert on the sneak from a yard away, actually a couple of inches away. And it has staked Washington to a 14-0 lead over Arizona. The Wildcats coming into this ball game 2 wins and 2 losses. Mala'ulu to the near side. It is caught. Terry Vaughn out near the 20 and across the 20. And Hillary Butler spins him down.
Yeah, but Dana Hall had a missed tackle there for absolutely no gain. It's the second time today. Nothing tricky about it. He just stayed in one spot. He didn't even go upfield. You look at the total yards so far in this football game, the Huskies dominating 155-31, 11:50 to go here in the second quarter. Washington leading 14-0.
Mala'ulu, 4 of of 6 for 44 yards. Arizona's rushing game has lost 13 yards on the day. And there's one reason why. When you've got a guy like Tyrone Rogers, he's a middle guard. He's 6'3", 265 pounds. And he has been a tower of strength for this Husky team all year long.
And what he did there against that particular play, was that counter move, pulling the guard and tackle, was just his quickness. He got penetration. Penetration against the design of that play is what will stop it. He played it absolutely perfect.
11:07 to play, first half. Husky Stadium here in beautiful Seattle, Washington. The temperature 73 degrees on a bright sunshiny day.
Don't get many of those in October.
3rd and 8. Mala'ulu looking right. He's going long. Pass intended for David Lockhart, and he overthrows him. Tommy Smith, he is the rover or strong safety in the scheme of things. He was back, great coverage on Lockhart. And Mala'ulu, you wonder, Don, how long it will be before the frustration begins to set in.
Yeah, well, you know, it sort of seems like a matter of time, as you say, the frustration for the offense, particularly of Arizona, to move the football. They are hunting and pecking and cannot get any kind of consistency.
There's Adam Grant. Look at that punt today. He had a 60-yarder. He wants to keep it away from Bean O'Brien, standing at his own 5-yard line. No pressure at all. Bryant may have a return at the 43. Bryant across the 45, and nothing doing as he is knocked down there. Tackled by John Bina. Washington will have the ball when we return. 6th year as the Conference of Champions, and Prime Network is proud to be part of it with the Pac-10 Game of the Week. Travel arranged through U.S. Air with flights every hour on the hour from Los Angeles to San Francisco. The U.S. Air California Shuttle, because U.S. Air begins with you. Today's game is brought to you by Lexus and the new ES300 Sports Sedan. And by Great Western's family of companies, $40 billion strong. 10:40 to play in the first half. It is Washington 14, Arizona nothing. Let's go down on the far sideline and Gene Washington.
Phil, I just went behind the Husky bench. Quarterback Billy Joe Tolbert has a stinger. That's a pinched nerve. It's sore. It's a little painful, but it's starting to come back, and he will come back into the ballgame. Let's get back upstairs here.
But that return will have to wait, because right now with Washington's offense on the field, it is Mark Brunell, the junior quarterback from Santa Maria, California. He saw his first action last week in an abbreviated appearance. Brunell with knee surgery last summer. He is in the ball game. It is first down and 10 from the 49. There's the draw. It is Bean O'Brien. He gets around the left side. And to the 36-yard line of Arizona, he sails. It'll be another first down for Washington. Tony Bowie on the stop.
Well, there's an example of what Bean O'Brien does best. He'll run 2 or 3 times, get 2 yards, get a yard, get 3 yards. Then he'll accelerate and turn it on. Now watch him start to the right here. That's where he wants to go. Nothing there, in his opinion. So he takes it left. You see that speed as he outruns initially Heath Ray, number 14, and then turns it upfield to pick up some nice real estate.
Brunell up top he goes. The pass intended for Mario Bailey. And running step for step was Daryl Morrison.
That ball was sailed outside last season. Brunell, 47% passer for over 1,700 yards. Just 8 interceptions and 14 touchdowns. So right now you've got to say he's a tad rusty. That throw right there, tough throw to make when it's the first one in a ball game for you. Going deep, looking for a fade or a streak, and trying to lay it up over the outside. It also takes some touch.
It is second down and 10. Arizona showing blitz, and boy, here they come. Brunell with time. Bumps once, now wants to take it upfield, and he will not get much. What a great job Darrell Hankins did of fighting off a block. Rob Waltrip also in on the tackle, but Derek Hankins did a 360 pirouette to stay on his feet to make the stop. The flag is down.
And what he did was Brunell wanted to take the inside. He started to step in, like you say. He enticed him to not go there, take the outside, and then he had the angle to shut him down from that standpoint. And give credit to the secondary. Excellent coverage back there. No one to throw to. And Dwayne Aquina, the secondary coach, former Washington Husky that played his football right here in this field.
Defense, 5-yard penalty. Still be second down.
Gordon Reese gives us the call, but Aquina is the assistant head coach. Also played basketball here at Washington. Fine job for Dick Tomey. Joined him over in Hawaii. He's from Hawaii originally. A lot of friends here. Saw a number of them out here in the field to visit with him yesterday. Very popular.
Gaspard splits wide to the left. Orlando McKay is wide right on second down and 5. Brunell looks for the sideline. He has got Curtis Gaspard and a first down at the Wildcat 23. Jay Phillips and Richard Holt, the nickelback, combined to bring Gaspard down. Gaspard is the senior out of New Orleans.
And Hobart up moving around right here. Got a neck brace on sort of to help that shoulder, I guess, to keep that pinched nerve problem from bothering him. That's a good throw for Hobart, or for Brunell to get off right there. To run a hook, a high percentage pass, get a little confidence going.
First down. It is Bino Bryant on the fake double reverse, and Bryant will be stopped for a loss of 2. I thought for a moment as if Bryant was going to simply reverse it to Orlando McKay, who would have had the wide side of the field wide open. But there's a man who was not fooled.
No, he played it well. He was not influenced, did not chase the play. Daryl Morrison, number 27, he was in perfect position to make the tackle should the exchange have been made.
Bino Bryant thus far 6 carries for 65 yards.
Big one was the 41-yarder a short time ago.
Trip wide receivers at the top of your screen. Brunell looking left. Wants to throw back over the middle, and he is chased out of the pocket and finally brought down. And you can credit Heath Gray, who was playing the middle linebacker spot, with applying the pressure that enabled Jimmy Hopkins to make the sack.
A former free safety that weighs maybe 209 pounds. And had he slipped him, as he does here initially, and then gets kind of caught up with the rest of the people, but that pressure there bothers him. Had he had an opportunity to look, Mario Bailey was coming cross field, was totally wide open, but you can see that Brunell had bigger things on his mind and his body.
That is an incredible stat right there.
Yes, it is. Second for the year. Good pass protection.
Third down and 16. Brunell. He wants Bailey, and he has got him at the 10-yard line. Bailey's got to go in. Oh, my!
Well, you see Bailey come down, break to the inside, just a post move. Here's where it all happens. Starts out, gets the hand down, the old agility drill, dukes a couple of players to take it back inside, breaks the tackle, goes in the end zone. Phil, that reminds me of the way you used to run them after you caught them. I've seen you make those. No, that was on the dance floor.
The point after is good.
I'll tell you, you talk about footwork, quickness, balance, and ability. Excellent throw, excellent coverage. See that? His knees never go down, gets the hand down. They work on that drill in practice. Then he breaks it back away from 3 tacklers and makes the last man miss. But look at this balance as he goes down low. That's what's important right there. And then uses that hand. Ducks the first tackler. That's Tony Bowie, number 3. Bowie gets a second shot at him. How embarrassing. Miss him twice in the same play within 5 yards. And then on into the end zone. The Huskies jump on top, 21-0, 8:11 to go in the second quarter.
Now Dick Tomey, he told us yesterday after his Wildcats practice that he knew he would need to have a near perfect game from his outman Wildcats. And thus far in the first half of play, the Cats have not had that perfect effort. But I'll tell you, we thought we would see an overwhelming Husky attack, both offensively and defensively, and it has been no surprise at all. That is Chuck Levy across the 27 and dives out across the 31. The shoestring tackle from Hillary Butler. A 25-yard return. That guy right there is going to be one tremendous running back before his career is over in Tucson. yards on 7 plays, and Mark Brunell caps it with a 29-yard strike to Mario Bailey, who eluded 4 tacklers between the 10-yard line and the goal line.
Two of them by one guy, Tony Dewey.
First down, Arizona. Mala'ulu on the option, and there's not much there.
You know, that was a terrific play, as we know, for the touchdown, but that does a tremendous amount for the confidence of Mark Brunell to come in and fire a touchdown pass in this situation. It's one thing to play at the end of a ball game when it's wrapped up and you come in and mop things up a little bit. Here the game still very close when it was 14-0. Now they jump out ahead 21-0 on his effort with that nice throw and run.
Mala'ulu on the busted play tries to pitch the ball out. It is picked up by Washington, and their second fumble recovery here in the first half. Jaime Fields covered it for the Huskies.
Once again, that quickness of the Huskies is creating problems for the composure of Arizona. They're still sort of debating who's going to get the football down there.
Watch Donald Jones and the pressure he puts on Mala'ulu right there.
Yeah, and the indecision on Mala'ulu's part, where he's getting harassed, there's nowhere to go. And then the decision to throw it late. You see him kind of holding the ball, and he sort of left hands it out there, a little bit out in front. And unfortunately for Arizona, they lose it. They're starting to get unraveled a little bit, and that's what they don't want to do, as the turnovers by the Huskies have worked in their favor, as they have all year. That gives them 10 on the year, and they usually result in points. Here they're in great field position to get some more.
And it is Billy Joe Hobert back in at quarterback. Hobert, he wants to go for it all. He bounces it on a one-hopper to Orlando McKay.
And he had McKay in there. He had put the ball up in the air a little bit.
Billy Joe Hobert, he's trying to get loose now again after donning that neck guard, and you wonder what kind of effect that might have on the throwing arm and on the throwing motion. Don, have you ever had to wear one of those?
No, I haven't. You see, he's just 4 of 10 there, but it's got to be restrictive. That's what he's trying to do, is to get back to a more normal throwing motion in his mind. But Arizona's put good pressure on him. That's why he's 4 of 10.
Gaspard and McKay split wide to the left, and now Mario Bailey in motion to join him. Pass intended for Bailey, and he is hit and swarmed under there by Heath Bray.
Pass intended for Mario Bailey, incomplete.
Again, not a good throw behind by Hobart. Hobart tried to put a lot of zip on. That's a tough pass to catch, and it's not an easy one to throw. You have a minimal area. When you're running to that flat, you only have about the distance of an arm's length. Not much chance for margin of error there, and you're going to be wrong. In that instance, he was wrong by throwing behind him.
Arizona's defensive front 7, they have not been far away from getting to both Hobart and Brunell. They got to Brunell one time. There's the crossing pattern, and oh, does Mario Bailey take a pounding.
He didn't go in there because he saw he was going to take a pounding at that stage. He was looking at that defensive back, Jay Phillips, coming across. And take a look at Bailey. You'll see Phillips in the center of your screen coming towards him. He's just going to blast him. And you see Bailey, he knows he's going to blast him. He said, forget that ball.
Now Mark Brunell.
Guess what? Hobart says, rats. I got to put that ball in there better, or I'd like somebody to go in there to get it. But as you look at the 4 of 6 career field goals by Travis Hansen, all from far out.
Oh, it is blocked, and it is picked up, and there will be no return at the 12-yard line. Mark Bruner simply jumped all over Odo McCann.
Well, that's a special teams play we were talking about that Arizona would need, but in this instance it worked against them because it was downfield, and Arizona will have to take it back around their 12-yard line. You'll see the block coming right there. Skips it off to the side, didn't get all of it, got certainly enough to keep it from being accurate, but it's a case of the Huskies not capitalizing on the fumble and the turnover in deep at Arizona's territory.
Stay with us at halftime as we present College Football Today's halftime report. Glenn Walker brings you all the scores and highlights of today's action. That's coming up at halftime. 7 minutes, 2 seconds to play on the first half. Mala'ulu right down the center of the field. It is intercepted by James Clifford, and he might bring it back down at the 10-yard line. He goes. interception.
And that was a terrific play by James Clifford. His second interception, sat out all last year. He'll pick up a nice block from Walter Bailey. You'll see Clifford, number 53, looks like a receiver. Look at him go up and take that football. Here's the block behind it. You see right there, bang. Now he turns it upfield. As I say, missed last season with a knee after having led the conference in tackles. Lost his job to Dave Hoffman, but working back into the lineup.
Jay Berry cracks behind left tackle Chris Rongan. He gains one, maybe two. Tony Bowie comes up from his free safety spot with help from Jimmy Hopkins.
A scuffle going on downfield as temper's getting a little bit hotter.
Berry now 9 carries from the line of scrimmage for 36 yards.
At the Wildcat 9.
6:26 to play. The clock runs here in the second quarter. Washington 21, Arizona nothing.
Two tight end offense.
It is Berry again. And again, the Wildcats will shut down the middle, led by Heath Gray.
You know, we talked at the beginning of this football game that despite the injuries and the youth of Arizona, you will not see them give up. We saw them come from behind 17-0 at Stanford, beat them. We saw them almost beat Cal, had them down. Cal had to go the length of the field and kick a field goal with no time on the clock at the end of the football game in order to beat them after Arizona had trailed 17-0. So this is a team that knows what it is to play 60 minutes.
Intended for Orlando McKay, and they're going to get pass interference against Daryl Morrison.
I'm not too sure on that one.
I'm not either.
I thought Orlando kind of pushed off. I think he did a good job of lobbying early there. Now you see the quick post move. Nice lane to throw the football. And he gets shoved. He does get shoved. He's got his hand in his bag right there.
Great call.
Yeah, it was. Daryl Morrison, he tried to slide it by, but the Huskies will get a first down at about the 2-yard line.
Well, I remember the 1989 game between these Huskies and Arizona. Washington gained 500 yards, Don, and lost the game, and they had just beaten Oklahoma the week before.
Yeah, that's really, I think, a Dick Tomey trademark, that his teams, and a credit to him, that he keeps them playing hard a whole football game.
Jay Berry tries to pick his way to the goal line, and he is stopped near the 1. Washington, they lead it 21-0. In their first 3 games of the year, they have scored a total of 134 points, their best start from a scoring standpoint since back in 1971. And Don, you remember the name Sonny Six Killer. He outdrew 8 of 11 opponents that year. In fact, I remember a game against the Purdue Boilermakers. Six Killer threw for 397 yards.
Yeah, Sonny's here in attendance at the ball game. He comes every week. He's a big Husky supporter.
Fullback pitch. Did he get it? Yes, he did. It is Matt Jones for the touchdown.
Well, that is Mick Jones's first touchdown of the year, Bill. And I'm sure that makes him very, very happy. A sophomore. The score off that left side, Ed Cunningham, Chris Ronigan, 290-pound offensive left guard. Look at this second effort. Good body lead. Good play by the defense, quite frankly, as they've kind of got him jammed up in there. But he keeps pumping those legs. Charlie Camp, the linebacker, has him for a moment.
Travis Hansen tacks on the point after, and with 4:57 to play in the first half, it's Washington flexing 28-0. We will be for our Pac-10 game of the week. There is a list of the potential matchups and where they will take place. We invite you to check your local listings for the announcement of teams and time in your area. That's next weekend, the Pac-10 game of the week right here on Prime Network. Jason Crabb will kick it away. And it is Billy Johnson back at his own 2-yard line. Johnson's got it. Across the 10, near the 15. He is grabbed around the shoulders at the 18-yard line by Dante Robinson and thrown out of bounds. Al Washington following Paulo Ulu's interception. They only had to go 12 yards. It took them 4 plays to get there. A 1-yard run by Matt Jones, the fullback. And the Huskies lead at 28-0. Dick Tomey. His last 2 ball games, as Don mentioned, he fell behind Stanford 17-0, came storming back in the second half to win it. And 2 weeks ago, they fell behind California 17-0, came back and had the lead with just a couple of seconds to go in the game and lost it on a Golden Bear field goal in the closing seconds. That is Billy Black Shoes Johnson, and this time he runs in the purple jerseys, led by Andy Mason and Hillary Butler.
That play is too slow developing against the penetration and quickness of the Huskies. It's that counter play where they pull people, and the Huskies react so well. Their defensive linebackers will follow those pulling people, and they'll beat them to the point of attack, as they did right there.
One of the problems Arizona is having trying to run the game, and they have minus 14 yards rushing, is they don't have a big fullback to get out in front of Chuck Levy or Antoine Carter. Mala'ulu, it is intercepted. Walter Bailey will go. Touchdown, Washington. Bailey's 3rd pick of the year.
Tipped it up and then caught it. Watch Donald Jones come around and bother Mala'ulu on the sprint out just a little bit right there as he gets shoved. But the play is made right here. Left hand in the air. The old tip drill. Picks it off into the end zone. The Huskies kick the extra point. Washington goes on top 34-0 with 4 minutes to go in the second quarter, Bill.
It should come as absolutely no surprise whatsoever to those who follow high school basketball in the Portland, Oregon area. At Benson Tech, he was an all-state high school basketball player, so that basketball drill right there from his high school days certainly paid dividends for Walter Bailey. His 3rd interception of the year, and I don't think there's any question but that he is the most natural Husky in one-on-one cover.
Well, he's the only defensive corner out here for the Huskies that has an interception this year. The safeties have some interceptions along the way, and linebackers, but you said it. Excellent job on his part.
Defensive coordinator Jim Lambright told me about Walter Bailey yesterday, and he said, you know, it's interesting. Sometimes his concentration wanes. He can be thinking so much about a play, a situation, an offensive set, and if a plane flies over the stadium, he's gone. He'll look at the plane and forget about it.
That's what little kids do in those Little League games. You know, you see him standing around watching planes and birds fly over. Maybe he played a lot of Little League in his day. I'll tell you right there, that had to be a magnificent feeling to catch that one and take it in.
Jason Crabb, and that is Billy Johnson at the 5-yard line. He is grabbed at the 23 and knocked down there. Great coverage by Leif Johnson, and Arizona will begin again from their own 23-yard line. And you wonder how long will Dick Tomey go with Mala'ulu. Chuck Levy, he is a redshirt freshman, a tremendous high school quarterback at Linwood High in Compton, California.
Well, you know one thing, he played about 40% of the time at quarterback last week against Long Beach State. But he only gets about 20% of the practice time. Now, that's not a whole lot. That's like maybe a dozen snaps in the course of a practice. So you can't be real effective and proficient with that amount of time.
First down, Arizona at their own 23. Mala'ulu will try and run the option, makes it around the right side, gets 2, maybe 3 before Chico Fraley, the senior inside linebacker from Roland Heights, California, brings him down. Boy, what a first half it has been for Mala'ulu. Look at the second quarter summary here. 27 points for Washington, a total of 81 yards. Arizona -1 and 3 turnovers.
And Washington capitalizing on those turnovers and points, as you can see right there. And that's what Arizona didn't want to have happen, is let the Huskies get them down big. They wanted to stay close.
Second down and 6. That is Chuck Levy, and he's going nowhere. Jaime Fields, a junior weak side linebacker out of Linwood, California.
You know, Phil, I've been in football games, not where I was a running back, but certainly as a quarterback, like Mala'ulu in this instance, that everywhere you turn, there's another player hitting one of your guys. And that's what's happening here. They try a running play, there's 2 and 3 guys around it before you ever get it started. You go to throw, you got people in your face. You go to quick rhythm passes, they're still in your face. They're blitzing you, they're shagging you all over the field. Very frustrating.
Jaime Fields tackling Levy there. They went to the same high school in Linwood. Right down the center of the field. The pass intended for Richard Griffith, the tight end, and Dana Hall on the coverage. Probably the best thrown ball by Mala'ulu here in the first half.
It was a nice, but it stayed in the air a little bit too long. He had him down the middle against the zone in this instance. When you see from the left side, right there, he's going to get hit. And regardless of how well that ball was thrown, Dana Hall had timed it pretty good. Got to throw that one. Well, sometimes you hang it up. That one, you need it more in a line.
Adam Grand to punt it away, and Bino Bryant is not back to receive it. It is Napoleon Kaufman, the true freshman out of Lompoc, California. And that man right there has 4.4 speed.
Or better.
He may have a return. Nope, he's going to let it go. And boy, what an Arizona bounce it takes.
He made a poor decision. It was not one to field, but he could have taken the hop on it.
It rolls dead at the 18-yard line, and with 2 minutes and 14 seconds to play following the 56-yard punt, Washington will again have the football. They already own a 34-0 lead. Next weekend on your local Prime Network affiliate, the dynamic drive of Garrison Hurst and the Georgia Bulldogs face the Rebel defense of Ole Miss. The Bulldogs and the Rebels next weekend on the Prime Game of the Week. Washington showing trip wideouts to the top of your screen. That is Bino Bryant. He gets 3, maybe 4. Rob Waldrop, who had started the year at defensive end, has had to move to nose guard because of the rash of injuries to that Arizona defensive unit. Throws for the far side. Curtis Gaspard, the intended receiver, and just overthrows him. Well thrown ball by Billy Joe Hobert. Richard Holt. Coverage step for step with Gaspard. Now Arizona's defensive unit, boy, it has been a long day already, and we have not even reached the halfway point.
And here they are in what you call a 2-minute situation. The Huskies trying to use the clock a little. You don't see a lot of extra defensive backs. They're playing essentially with their same people, except they use linebackers. There are defensive backs.
We've got a fumbled ball, I believe. It is covered by Tony Bowie, but I'm not sure if they're calling it an incomplete forward pass. No, it is a fumble, and Arizona's got it. Jimmy Hopkins with the hit, and boy, what a hit it was on Billy Joe Hobert.
Well, he started 8 games as a freshman. You'll see from the right side, he'll be coming in to pop him right there. Hobart doesn't see him. Hobart lets the ball get away from him. Hopkins
on the 19-yard line.
They're saying the ball carrier was down on the 19, so Hobart got a break there. I don't know. I thought that's a fumble, frankly. I mean, he didn't have forward motion. There's the ball rolling out. No question that's a fumble, but Hopkins was a defensive lineman in the spring, 254-pounder, moved him back to a linebacker. You can see why with that speed and quickness. He got robbed out of a turnover play, and of course, defense return team for Arizona has to hustle on the field. They thought it was their football.
Wildcats
should have been.
Had their pocket pick. They were robbed here in broad daylight. A flag is down. It is taken at the 42-yard line. Shake and bake. Terry Vaughn on the return. Bruce Bailey tackles him. We've got a flag down. Illegal procedure against Washington. You know, with the situation, 1:28 to play, Don, I'm not so certain. I wouldn't take the penalty and try a 10-man rush here.
Well, I would certainly take the penalty. I don't know that I'd go for the return or the rush. You got a pretty good return guy. Huskies pretty hard to block a kick on, although the Wildcats did block a field goal attempt earlier. And they are going to make him kick over. Gives you another offensive play, essentially, a chance to return it. And they got terrific people that can bring that football back. Gary Vaughn's as quick as anybody. Not real big at 165 pounds, but he can make something happen once he gets
illegal
it.
motion, offense, still 4th down. Sideline warning, defense.
Hobart has not kicked the ball real well today, and I'm not sure that he's going to kick this one.
Well, John Wardell has come in to punt it for Hobart. John Wardell is a junior college transfer out of Bakersfield, California. 6'2", 188-pound junior. Standing in his own end zone.
The block.
Snap. Oh, and they almost got it. And what a punt. Vaughn should have a return. He takes it at his 41. Juke steps his way to the midfield stripe, and he is swarmed under. Tremendous downfield coverage by Washington. Bruce Bailey tackles him at the midfield stripe. A 45-yard punt. It comes with 1:16 to play. Washington. They came into the ball game as a 29.5-point favorite. They lead it 34-0.
You get awful close to it, Phil, like you said. Well, he drops it down to the ground first, but look it up the middle, right? Well, that guy diving at the football, I can't catch his number, is the one that got closest to it, and it was much closer than it appears right there. That scares you when you're a kicker, particularly when it's the first time that you're kicking. Come into the game, you're backed up a little bit, kicking around your own 5-yard line, and they put the heat on you. But you have to anticipate they're going to try and do that.
From the 50-yard line, George Mala'ulu, a pair of fumbles and an interception. He'll take it upfield. And down to the Washington 41 he goes. Andy Mason, the defensive end, a sophomore out of Longview, Washington, finally tackles him. And with that run, Mala'ulu on the game is now down to -9.
Improving. Quarterback draw.
And this time he is slapped by Steve Entman and Chico Fraley.
Lost yards. Now that -9 is going to be about -11. Maybe 12. It's been down the mark. Well, -10 for where they gave it to him. They were generous.
Arizona, only 2 players with positive rushing yardage. Carter with 2. Billy Johnson has 1. It is Kyle. David Lockhart has got it at the 24-yard line of Washington. Arizona's deepest penetration thus far in the game, and it comes with 26 seconds to play in the first half. Stay tuned at halftime. Glenn Walker will bring you up to date on all of the goings-on in NCAA football today. Scores and highlights. Arizona with a no huddle. It is 1st and 10 from the 26.
Tackle move. Right tackle, I believe.
Well, Donald Jones saw it and immediately came across the line.
Mu Tangoe playing for Vince Smith. Smith out, the 371-pounder.
Who was that a hit?
Right tackle. Mu Tangoe. I asked Dick Tomey, I said, how do you pronounce that? He said, I don't know. I call him Mu.
Well, the pronunciation I got was Tangawahi, but when you look at the way it's spelled, T-A-G-O-A-I, how do you get Tangawahi?
I asked him yesterday, and they said Tangoe. I said, okay. Nick Finian-Ganofo, who plays right next to him, look at it right there.
False start, offense.
290-pound
Still
freshman.
first down.
Finian-Ganofo was the biggest man in the conference a year ago at 331. He dropped 15 pounds. And now there are 9 300-pounders that are starting at this point in time with Vince Smith, the right tackle, the biggest at 371, but out as he hurt a knee against California a couple of weeks ago. Imagine that, 371 pounds.
Wide to the right goes James Bullock. In the slot is Vaughn. It is 1st down and 15. In motion, Antoine Carter. Mala'ulu looking for Carter and throws behind him. Quick Carter had drawn one-on-one coverage from Dana Hall on the far side, and I wonder, with Carter's elusive breakaway speed, what he might have done had he got the football.
Yeah, well, the reason he got 1 for 1 there, and you see 5 for 10 for Mala'ulu and 60 yards with a pair of interceptions, is that James Bullock, the wide receiver, had come in on a pick play and cleaned up on the safety in that area, or the defensive back, which created an isolation out there to the wide side of the field. And you're right, open field, tough tackle to make, and Dana Hall has missed a couple here this afternoon.
2nd and 15. Huskies are coming. Mala'ulu is hit as he relieves the football and is picked off in midair by DeMarco Barr.
How about that play, folks? A lineman's dream. Picks up a block. He wants to go the distance. He said, I'm not sure I can go another 50 yards. There's only 11 seconds left.
Shane Paukoa delivered a hammer on that man right there.
Well, Shane, the free safety, watch him coming. Donald Smith, 48, the first guy to the inside, but that's Paukoa that makes the play that pops the ball in the air. And then look at those hands as he snatches the ball. Number 90 in the right of your screen, Empman trying to get a little bit of a block. But, you know, those linemen, they aren't used to running long distances. They say, hey, you know, when they come out to practice on Friday, it's really kind of just a nothing day in drill. They get to fool around. But to run 60, 70 yards with the ball, different story.
1st and 10 from the 48. Holbert is going deep.
Had him. He had it. That was 6 points.
Intended for Aaron Pierce, who had 1 reception, took it all the way down to the 9-yard line, simply couldn't catch up with it. Richard Holt was the cover man on the left side. Holbert is now 0 for his last 5. He is 4 for 14 for 60 yards. So in spite of the lack of pass production from Washington, they are still delivering the hammer to Arizona. It is 34-0 with 5 seconds to play. Holbert going deep, and it is thrown out of bounds. Pass intended for Damon Berry, and it wasn't even close. So the Huskies will head to the locker room here at halftime. 3 interceptions and a pair of fumbles, all by George Mala'ulu, has been disastrous for the Wildcats of Arizona. At halftime, it's the Huskies 34, Arizona nothing. Right now, let's go to Glenn Walker for our halftime report. Halftime here at Husky Stadium, where the 3rd-ranked Washington Huskies are flexing all over the place, out in front of the Arizona Wildcats 34-0. We welcome you back to Husky Stadium. Phil Stone along with Don Heinrich. And when you take a look at the halftime statistics, Washington averaging 5 yards a play, Arizona less than 2. Couple that with the Wildcats' 5 turnovers, Don, that's about all you need to know.
Well, you know, usually you have 5 turnovers in a football game, you're going to lose it in most instances. And as far as the yardage, that less than 1.5 yards actually is what it amounts to against the Huskies defense. It's kind of keeps with their averages so far this season.
You know, in the first period, Don said that he thought that Arizona would have to play a near perfect brand of football. Those sentiments were echoed yesterday when Dick told me just about the same thing. They haven't even come close to playing a near perfect brand of football. And now when you're down 34-0, Don, against a team that plays so well offensively and defensively, where do you go from here?
Well, you know, unfortunately for them, while they've improved their passing game this year, the fact is they aren't spreading it out and getting away from people like they need to do. The pressure is too quick by the defense that they're harassing Mala'ulu. He is not getting the time, be it drop back, be it sprint out, or be it a 3-step drop for quick rhythm passes. They're just all over him.
You know, Don, early in this ball game, Washington on their first 2 possessions had to punt the football away. But Arizona, on its 2nd possession of the game, coughed it up. Mala'ulu fumbled the ball. Washington recovered. And then 3 plays later, watch Jay Berry from 13 yards away, and the route was on.
Well, they held him through the first quarter, essentially, but he made that one look easy. Then they came back after a drive Billy Joe Hobart goes off the left side right here on a sneak, a sterling run of about 6 inches. But the fact of the matter is, he hurt his shoulder a little bit on that, got a pinched nerve. Huskies on top 14-0. Then Mario Bailey, a 29-yard touchdown catch from Mark Brunell. And this is the play of the game up to this point. Watch the catch. The hand goes down, stays on his feet, forces a miss, another miss, breaks back to the inside, a second miss by Bowie, who had 2 shots at him, takes it into the end zone. Dogs 21-0. And then Matt Jones, 1-yard run off the left side. Good forward lead. Great second effort on his part. Good surge by the offensive line. The Huskies 28-0 at this point.
And Washington was still not done. Watch this. Mala'ulu, his second interception of the first half. He pulls up one of the few times that he had time to deliver. Watch that. The tip into the hands of Walter Bailey. 24-yard tightrope back down the far sideline. And that was it. Walter Bailey staking Washington to a 34-0 halftime lead. And Don, I want to ask you again, if you're in that visiting clubhouse right now, boy, what are you hearing from your head coach?
Well, it's very, very difficult, Phil. There's not a whole lot you can say other than that you want him to continue to play hard, which Dick Tomey's teams do, and you want to try and at least make something happen. Shorten up your passing game, get to the quick rhythm passing, hope you can get a break and get a couple of points on the board.
Now let's go down on the field right now where Gene Washington is standing by. Gene?
Thank you very much, Phil. Down here with Huskies head coach Don James. Coach, first of all, your quarterback, Billy Joe, he has that pinched nerve, a little stinger. How is it?
He's okay. He's been rattled a little bit. They got to him. He's got to settle down and, throw off the front foot instead of the back foot.
Arizona has a history of coming back in the second half. I'm sure you've seen that on tapes. What did you tell your ball club at half?
Well, the thing is that we were very pleased with our defense, but not very pleased with our offense and our kicking game. And we've got areas that we've got to clean up, and that's our goal this afternoon, to pick those 2 areas up.
Thanks for being with us. Good luck second half, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay, Phil and Don, let's get back upstairs to you.
You know, Gene, I'd certainly love to be in Don James's position right now. 34-0 over the Wildcats of Arizona. Now, today's halftime stats are brought to you by Isuzu. And just take a look. Yards rushing Arizona, who came into this ball game averaging 231 yards on the ground. Today, Don, minus 14.
Well, last week, the Huskies held Kansas State to minus 17 for the day. So here's 14 at halftime. And passing yards, just 60 for the Wildcats, 99 for the Huskies. Not a substantial number for the Huskies passing-wise relative to their yearly average. 270 total yards to 46 for the Cats. Turnovers, as you mentioned earlier, Phil, in the highlights, 5. And that usually costs you. It has cost them to this point.
There is Dick Tomey in his 5th year at Arizona. A record against Washington, 2 wins, 1 loss, and a tie. They got the big victory in 1989. Washington had run up 500 yards and somehow lost the ball game last year here at Husky Stadium in a driving downpour. It was Washington all over the Wildcats, 54-10. We are set to go. Jason Crabb puts his foot to the ball, and it'll be taken at the 2-yard line by Billy Johnson. Helmet to helmet across the 21. Boy, Johnson hit Hillary Butler right on the plastic headpiece. Now you look at Arizona's possession thus far in the ball game. Take a look. Punt, fumble, punt, punt, punt.
Get a lot of work on your kicking game that way. And the fumble at the end there, of course, was another area of those turnovers. 2 of the 5 that they had so far today.
Mala'ulu will remain at quarterback for the time being. And that is Mu Tongawahi, the redshirt freshman, number 74 at right tackle, who moved.
And Donald Jones was the linebacker that came across reaction-wise when he saw him move.
Dead ball start, offense, still first down.
Boy, I'll tell you, what an afternoon of frustration it has been for George Mala'ulu, who just a couple of weeks ago was the Pac-10 Offensive Player of the Week for his effort against Stanford, bringing the Wildcats from a 17-0 deficit. Now 1st and 15. Oh, my! Antoine Carter was almost in a position of having to tackle Andy Mason. Mala'ulu's handoff almost went to that guy.
Well, from the left side of your screen, or the right side in this instance, you see him step up to the inside. Carter just blasts him to make that tackle. Lucky they didn't have a fumble. Usually at that point, you make that contact on the exchange, you get a fumble out of it.
Play action. Mala'ulu steps up. All the time in the world, delivers. It is caught by Vaughn. He'll be short of the first down at the 31 as Vaughn broke the pattern off a bit too quick, and that is the residual effect of having your quarterback in trouble all day long.
Yeah, and in that instance, Mala'ulu had, number one, better protection than he's had this afternoon. Number two, he had a good field of vision to throw the football. A nice lane opened up there for him so he could step up and really follow through on the toss, and of course resulting in a nice reception.
3rd and 2. Saw enough of that guy last year to suit them a lifetime. Fraley a year ago against Arizona, 13 unassisted tackles.
Well, from the left side, number 39, no one ever touches him as he just bolts through there to make the play. And that tells you the respect for the Washington defense. Short yardage, they were going to go to the air and couldn't even get it off on a quick rhythm pass.
Washington showing a 10-man front. Adam Graham to try and punt it away. He has one 60-yarder. Good protection, and he skies it. Dean O'Brien calling for the fair catch at the 46, and he's got it. Adam Grant, a 28-yard punt. Bryant with no return at all. And Washington with terrific field position, 12:59 to play in the 3rd. Every week, Prime Network and your local affiliate bring you Around the NFL with Bill Parcells and Mike Francesa. Preview each week's upcoming NFL games with hot topics, interesting guests, and insider information. We invite you to check your local listings for the availability on most Prime Network affiliates. Billy Joe Holbert, the eye. The pitch goes to Jay Berry. He hurdled one man, but could not hurdle the next.
Good job just to get back or pick up a yard from where he was. It was an excellent effort to keep his balance, get his hand out. Watch the defensive line. They're all slanting that way. Good guess. Good block up in front of it, but penetration takes him off his feet. But look at that for balance to stay up and try and get back to that line of scrimmage. Terrific second effort.
2nd down and 10. Holbert with time. Steps up, is chased out. Hit as he releases the football, and the catch is made. Tremendous catch. Curtis Gaspard in heavy traffic. He's got 2 catches now for 22 yards. Holbert now 5 of 16 for 72.
Well, that's what that size does for you, 2 1/4, as he's going to get the pressure here and get a hand on him. He's big enough right there where he gets a hand on him. He's big enough to stay up on his feet and still have the balance and the strength of arm to fire it in there for a big first down.
And Mark Brunell is back in the ballgame as Holbert is holding that shoulder again. Brunell's first pass, it is completed to Mario Bailey. Boy, they say Mario Bailey is not the perfect technician, Don, in running patterns, but I'll tell you, he just makes big catch after big catch. And there, of course, is Billy Joe. Second time he has been out of the game with that stinger up in the neck shoulder area.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Next week they have Toledo comes out here. Gary Pinkel, the former offensive coordinator of the Huskies, the head coach back there his first year. Not an enviable task to play the Huskies, but they should be able to give him a break as Brunell 3 of 4 on today's game.
There is Mark Jones. He's got 1 touchdown, and this time he carries the mail to the 26 before Tony Bowie brings him down. Matt Jones, a sophomore out of Portland. There is the offensive line of Arizona. Right now, they must be wondering what in the world could we possibly do to hold out the front 7 of Washington.
Well, what they're not doing in a lot of cases, Phil, is dealing with the Huskies taking those gaps, be it a linebacker or a defensive lineman. They're getting beat through them. That's just plain speed, quickness, athletic ability.
That's Berry. He is grabbed from behind and man down by Teddy Brucey, the true freshman. 6'1", 250 pounds.
Arizona has done a terrific job with their game plan. 4 down linemen, the different look, 4 linebackers or defensive backs in some combination. Essentially 8 people up there, and it's slanting one way or the other. They've done, all things being considered, a good job against that Washington offensive line.
Second down in 8, out to 24. Play action. Brunell, he's looking touchdown. It is, oh, what a catch! Mario Bailey!
And pass interference.
The defensive back with a circus catch, return for an interception, and now Mario Bailey. Watch this.
And watch the throw. Good protection, crossing pattern. Interference right there. He lays out for it. You see him tip up the ball, and what a grab. What a grab right there. Right hand out, one hands it, brings the left hand in. Reminds me of Gene Washington in his days with the 49ers. Reach out, snatch that ball like that. That takes some terrific athletic ability and terrific confidence. Great for Brunell. Second touchdown pass today.
Will be penalized on the next kickoff.
Mario Bailey, his second touchdown reception today.
Jason Crabb will
kick. A 29-yarder and now a 23-yarder. Now Jason Crabb.
Gives him 5 on the year, Phil.
From the hold of Eric Bjornsson. Good snap. Ball is down, and Crabb has got it. So at 10 minutes and 16 seconds to play, the Huskies are striking for more. In the third quarter, Washington 41, Arizona nothing. They go 53 yards in 2 minutes and 43 seconds. Mark Brunell hit Mario Bailey with his second touchdown catch of the day. Bailey coming into the ball game averaged 16 yards a catch. He is up over that this afternoon. Jason Crabb. He tries to get it to the near side. It is taken at the 5-yard line. Billy Johnson still on his feet, tripped up at the 15, falls forward and is covered at the 22 by Donnie Robinson.
On his own 5-yard line.
So here comes the Arizona offense. And while they come onto the field, let's go down to Gene.
Thank you very much, Phil. Phil, I was just behind the Huskies bench. McKay, the wide receiver, has his jersey off. His shoulder pads are off. He has a hip pointer, and I've had a couple of those. And boy, I can tell you, when you get a hip pointer, it is really painful. I doubt that he will be back into the ball game. Let's get back upstairs to you.
Also probably gone for the game is Billy Joe Hobart, suffering a second stinger. Mala'ulu throws. It is caught. Taken by Lamar Lovett, the redshirt freshman out of Franklin High School in Los Angeles. And a flag is down out at the 43.
I think you might get a face mask on top of it. Put a good move on. Ooh, a little unnecessary roughness factor going there. Walter Bailey was kind of excited about it.
Personal foul, defense. First and 10, Arizona.
Sort of jumped up and kind of threw his arms in the air. Didn't look like much. Nice move right there. There's the tackle. Comes up over the top as he's going down. I'm not sure what the call would be, quite frankly. I don't see anything by either defender.
It's a first down for Arizona at the Husky 42. The lone setback is Chuck Levy. In motion, Antoine Carter. Levy's got the ball on the quick hitter, and it is Steve Entman who wrestles him down.
I'll tell you what, Steve Entman lined up over the center. Toffelmeyer made a move to his right. He was going to take the guard center gap, saw the play start, and came back and made the tackle.
correction.
That was a terrific effort.
It was Craig Gilbert on the carry, not number 4 Chuck Levy. Gilbert is a 6 foot, 231-pound fullback who backs up both Billy Johnson and Lamont Lovett.
You don't think Emtman hasn't got some agility and quickness? At 290 pounds, he can do a backflip.
There is Antoine Carter, and he's going nowhere. Boy, Dave Hoffman, 6'2", 225 pounds, has the speed of a sprinter. You talk to Jim Lambright, he says this guy Hoffman is the physical leader of this Huskies defensive unit.
Well, there again, they're trying to bring the guard and tackle. They're blocking down on that left side. They left a little gap, and Hoffman right there, he sees that gap. He took it, penetrated, made the play before it ever got started. Terrific instinct and nose for the football.
Dave Hoffman and Chico Fraley make up the inside linebacking core for the Huskies, and boy, do they play fluid football. 3rd down and 8. The pitch comes to the near side. Craig Gilbert is met. Hello, Jaime Fields.
Oof. Oofta, as they say in Minnesota.
Fields and Chico Fraley combined.
Well, they're running the option away from it, and the Huskies come back. Fields and Fraley get him in the old sandwich trick and just put the squish on him, and that was away from the strength of the defense that had gone to it. They had about 8 guys sitting over there waiting for him.
Adam Grant, he punted 5 times in the first half. This is his second punt of the second half. Low snap, he'll get it away. Vino Bryant will not have a return. This one is out of bounds at about the 18-yard line. So that'll stop the clock with 7 minutes and 37 seconds to play in the 3rd period from Husky Stadium in Washington. Where the Arizona Wildcats wish they were right now.
Floating around on that big sailboat, huh?
Sure, you spent a little time out on Lake Washington during your playing days here in Seattle.
Had some wonderful memories of that, Phil. And of course, I can remember a lot of practices back there in that field that's just adjacent to the lake. But
football?
Yeah, a whole lot of football.
7:36 to play in the 3rd quarter.
A lot of memories.
Out of the eye come the Washington Huskies. First man through it is Leif Johnson. He is the backup fullback to Matt Jones, and he is met by Hisham El Mashtoob, who is a true freshman out of Quebec, Canada. There is El Mashtoob.
Yep. Hisham El Mashtoob started a game or two. Actually, he started with the offensive line at one point, and was moved to defense, back up nose tackle. And he's become sort of a permanent nose tackle. A lot of need.
There is Mark Brunell, who has come on here in the 3rd quarter after the second injury of the game to Billy Joe Hobert. Bino Bryant will try the left side, running it up behind Lincoln Kennedy and Chris Rondon. And Heath Bray brings him down.
You know, we've talked about Arizona, despite the fact that they're trailing 41-0 and 6:45 to go here in the 3rd quarter. But of teams we've seen this year, Phil, we've mentioned that they do not know what it means to quit. And here they are playing just as hard, scrambling. Look at the yardage right there, 265 to 78. But Arizona is getting around the football.
Pass intended for Mario Bailey. Great coverage by Daryl Morrison. And the Huskies will punt it away.
Yeah, 3 and out. One of the few times that's happened since the first couple of series of this football game. Be a little bit of a lift for Arizona. It should give them a reasonably good field position.
John Wardell is handling the punting chores here in the second half after Billy Joe Hobert did it in the first half.
Well, Hobart's been their kicker and averaged 40 yards on the season, but had that neck stinger and a few little problems. I'm sure James felt no sense subjecting him to a possible block or getting thumped around.
Oh, what a punt. Terry Vaughn has to wait for it at the 24. Great downfield coverage by the Huskies. And he's not going to go anywhere. Darius Turner leading a host of Huskies into the neighborhood. Leif Johnson also there following the 53-yard punt by Wardell. 6:09 to play in the 3rd. Washington 41, Arizona nothing. Next Next weekend on most Prime Network affiliates, intrastate rivals Kansas and Kansas State, both undefeated in non-conference play their first Big 8 battle. Bragging rights are on the line for the Jayhawks and Wildcats next weekend. Arizona from their own 32-yard line. George Mala'ulu remains at quarterback. The lone setback is fullback Craig Gilbert, and he is smothered by Steve Empman.
And Steve Empman once again just took the gap. No one touched him. It had to be a breakdown or mistake in the blocking assignment because he came through clean on the penetration to make the play. We'll take a look right here. You'll see number 90. Well, there was an attempt at a block, just kind of a little bit of a dewdrop type of a move right there. Head down and couldn't really see where Empman was. He used his hands, played off it, just moved right on by him. Little Toreador.
That stop by Empman, the 13th stop by Husky defensive players for losses. There's Mala'ulu. He is across the 40, still on his feet and pulled down from behind by Empman. Steve Empman, 6'4", 290 pounds, and he brings Mala'ulu down from behind.
And you wonder why he's a potential candidate for the Outland Trophy or the Lombardi Trophy, one or both. And good penetration here. The pass blocking not bad to begin with. Look at Empman getting double teamed, then spins off of it. You talk about second effort. There's guys chasing Mala'ulu, but there's the guy that makes the play. Steve Empman at 290. What second effort and hustle. That's the kind of work ethic he has.
First and 10 from the 45. Arizona now out of the eye. Mala'ulu. He's not going anywhere. It is Paxton Taulele. Taulele is the second string rover back, or a strong safety, plays behind Tommy Smith. This is only his third full year of football, Don. He didn't play at all in high school. He simply didn't play.
Well, he's playing now, and I think that you can recognize that he comes flying in there. They had nobody really blocking him at that point, but he just kept coming, and he made the play.
Second down and 13. George right over the middle. It is caught. Barry Julian has got it at the 40-yard line. Donald Jones crushed Mala'ulu again.
Did he ever? You got to say one thing. Mala'ulu is a tough hombre. Watch the hit he takes right here as he throws the football. Bang. And now the catch. What a nice grab to go down, get his elbows down and block the ball right there. But that kind hurt. He's stepping forward into it. That's like running into a tree. It's like a blindside. Say, whoa, who hit me?
A gain of 10. It is first and 10. A gain of 13, pardon me, from the 41-yard line. Mala'ulu hit from behind, loses the football. Who's got it? The Huskies say they have covered it. And indeed they have. Washington has the ball. And there is the man who caused it. Fourth sack of the day by the Huskies, and Duncan Smith recovered the ball.
Well, when you take the kind of time in the pocket, as you see Mala'ulu drop back, and you got Donald Smith, 48, from the left coming in there with 4.5 speed, tremendous quickness, you got to account for him. I mean, they got a blocker on him, but you can't sit back there with the ball and wait for the play to open up. You got to let it go and anticipate the break of the receiver. And of course, the Huskies, another turnover here this afternoon.
6 turnovers, 4 fumbles by Arizona. They have lost them all in a pair of interceptions. Brunell. It is caught. Mark Bruner is down at the Arizona 32. Bruner, his first catch as a Husky. He is a true freshman out of Aberdeen, Washington.
Well, the play action fake, the slow block on his part, and then Brunell, see the play action there. He rolls back the other way. You see him coming across. Boom, pops it out to him. He's thinking, oh, if I just split this, I can make a touchdown out of it. But it closes in a hurry. Tony Bowie making the tackle.
A first down for Washington now at the Wildcat 32. They lead at 41-0. the counter to Bino Bryant. On his feet inside the 15 and tackled at the 13. William Dixon, the last man who could have brought him down, did so.
Gain of 19 yards on the first down.
Bino Bryant, a record-breaking sprinter at Dorsey High School in Los Angeles.
Not real big at 178, but look at him pick his way there. Look at his balance as he keeps getting hit from one side or the other and continues to stay on his feet. Finally gets taken down right there. As you see, his numbers 9 for 82 yards, averaging pretty good today.
He'll try and add to it here. He is inside the 10. Touchdown, Huskies.
Well, there's Sundance, the Husky dog, and you notice a lot of the offensive players run over to Bino Bryant. That's his first rushing touchdown. No, it's his fourth rushing touchdown of the season, but they are so happy for him. He averaged 5.5 yards a carry coming in. This one, look at there as he picks his way. Now, those are subtle little moves, but watch, they see the acceleration as he sees that daylight and that crack, boom, in.
Jason Crabb puts on the point after, and that'll stop the clock with 2 minutes and 46 seconds to play in the third. And it is Bino Bryant.
Oregon Ducks join the flock and come to play on Prime Sports Northwest. We're not talking duck tail. We're talking every play of every game all season long. Just remember, in this game, if somebody yells duck, you better. Get excited. This season, the Oregon Ducks are on Prime Sports Northwest, home of the Pac-10. New Mexico State visits the Ducks for a non-conference headbanger, Monday, October 7th at 8 Pacific.
Today's game is brought to you by your Toyota dealers and their quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. And by Southwest Airlines. Remember what fares were like before Southwest Airlines? 2:46 to play in the third. Washington 48, Arizona nothing. Lincoln Kennedy didn't get credit for this touchdown, but he should have.
Yeah, that's him, number 70, right there, 5, coming around, and number 70 out in front of it. Malamala to help seal the inside. So there were 2 key blocks right there with Kennedy putting it away. And the scoring summary, Bino goes into the end zone with 55 seconds on that drive. 3 plays, 54 yards, a 13-yard run to put it away.
Jason Crabb from the 35-yard line. Washington will kick it away. Boy, Washington's kickoff team has gotten a lot of work today. That is Vaughn to the 28-yard line. And Vaughn is tackled by Hillary Butler. Hillary Butler has played tremendous special teams for Washington today. Joined on that tackle by Steve Springstead.
Well, Don James puts a lot of emphasis on special teams and always had. In his early days, when he didn't have as much talent on offense and defense, he won a lot of football games with those special teams. So he takes a very personal interest in it, and as a result, you can see the payoff. I think that's their longest return of the afternoon. They've had a lot of work on it, too.
Alaolu play action steps up. He's going for it all, and it is almost intercepted. David Lockhart was wide open. Shane Paukoa, the free safety, stepped in front of Lockhart as the ball was badly underthrown.
You don't get a chance like that. Paukoa will remember that one for a long time. He'll have a few nightmares on it tonight. Pretty good protection here. Play action. And one of the things at this stage of the football game is why use play action? You're so far behind. You see Paukoa come across there. Oh, he says, I'll dream about that one. He had some running room, too. But if you're going to have to throw, as the Cats do right now, why waste the time of the play action? You might as well get back as quick as you can and unload it.
Alaolu on the quarterback draw. Tripped up from behind by DeMarco Farr. And it slowed him up just enough to allow Duncan Smith and Brett Collins to tackle him.
Now, Phil, you might have thought that was a quarterback draw, but I'm here to tell you that wasn't. That's what you call running running for your life as he took it back up the middle. And look at the hit that he takes. You see the pressure initially, a missed tackle right there, but watch the sandwich job. Boom, boom, as he gets pounded by Hillary Butler on the backside, I believe by Tyrone Rogers. Third down conversions for Arizona, just 1 of 8 as they look at a 3rd and 4.
Gilbert loses the football, and who's got it? I believe the Huskies do, yes. Arizona's 5th fumble of the afternoon to go along with 2 Mala'ulu interceptions.
And an Arizona player hurt.
Rogers on the recover.
Dick told me this has got to be tough for him. Normally his teams don't get manhandled or dismantled very often like they are here this afternoon. The 2nd time in 2 years against the Huskies. Last year the Huskies cinching the Rose Bowl with that big victory. We'll take a look. It's just up the middle, little full block, nice hole right there. See the ball get jerked out. And now it starts rolling around on that grass, AstroTurf grass that is. And of course a lot of people diving for the football. It's still lying free. Plenty of purple jerseys. The Dogs come up with it. The injured player was Mike Hemsbergen, offensive left guard, a transfer from Eastern Arizona JC. Defensive tackle initially that moved to the offensive line, and we get another change of quarterback, I believe.
It is Eric
Look at
Bjornsson.
the turnovers.
7 today. Washington came in +8 on the season, and here is Bjornsson. Napoleon Kaufman. Whoa, does he make things happen?
Oh, Phil, we knew he was exciting. And I'll tell you what, going right and back to the left. Listen to that crowd. He's intended to go that way. Follows the offensive lineman. Nothing there. Does a 360. Cuts back inside. Makes Tony Bowie miss. Makes another miss right there. Now he's going to turn it on. And he runs right to his knees. He's going to be unhappy with that. But what a nice play. Turns a loss into a plus.
That is Leif Johnson. He is tackled at the ankles at the 21-yard line. Bjornsson is the quarterback. He's a 6'5", a redshirt freshman out of Bishop O'Dowd High School in Oakland, California.
You know, you see a play like that by Napoleon Kaufman. That is so exciting. And they think big things for him. They're moving him along. You can expect to see him in the lineup more as the season goes. Been used primarily on kick returns. When you got moves like that, you're going to have to get some playing time.
2nd down and 8. Here he comes again, Napoleon Kaufman on his feet to the 9. Whoa, my. He is 5'9". He is 170 pounds. And just listen to this. A year ago, playing high school ball in Lompoc, California, he averaged 9.5 yards a carry.
And nothing fancy, just zone blocking and terrific running. Look at that knee action. High. 2nd effort. Listen to that crowd cheer for him. They love him. Now they're kind of booing a little bit because he's out of the ball game. Looks like he's maybe a little bit winded. But they want to see some more of that from him. They're looking for blood. The Huskies leading 48-0. 4 seconds to go. They can let it run down to the quarter. But Kaufman, oh, is he exciting.
We have played 15 minutes remain in this one. Washington, they are number 3 in the nation, and they are devastating the Wildcats. Very strong. In the 3rd period, Mark Brunell hit Mario Bailey with his 2nd touchdown reception of the afternoon. Mala'ulu, his 4th fumble, lost of the game. leads to a University of Washington touchdown. And boy, just take a look at the rushing yardage in this game. Arizona has been held to nary a yard after coming in averaging 231 yards on the ground.
Yeah, and just figure it wasn't but a year or so ago, Phil, that 4 out of 5 years they led the Pac-10 conference in rushing.
That's Harris. He is hit at the 12. His forward progress falling forward to the 9. Hit at the line of scrimmage by Teddy Bruce. And here comes Napoleon.
You hear the crowd roar for him. They like him.
86 career high school touchdowns. Only Russell White at Cal had more in high school in California. He had 94 at Crespi High.
Well, Kaufman, without question, one of the premier backs out of high school, if not the premier back. The Huskies have never gotten one quite like him.
He's got the football looking and big to the 6-yard line. Now, Napoleon Kaufman, unquestionably one of the most heavily recruited high school running backs just a year ago. SC wanted him, the Bruins of UCLA, Notre Dame was after him, and so were the Cornhuskers of Nebraska. But he said, I'm going to Washington. Speaking of Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish and Stanford are due to lock it up in just a couple of hours in Palo Alto. There's Heath Bray. He'll trot out with what looked like an ankle or a calf injury. He's all right. Now, Don, who do you like in that ball game coming up, Stanford or Notre Dame?
Well, you know, I think that Notre Dame, second time around, awfully difficult to beat after they lost a year ago. You know, that coach, he doesn't lose 2 times to many people. And Stanford, off of an emotional game against Colorado, I don't know they can get it up again.
There comes Kaufman. He was hit by Tony Waldrop at the 7, finally stopped at the 4. Tony Bowie is on the bottom of the pile.
You know, Phil, what happened in that game a week ago against Colorado, another team that was beat up was Stanford, and they had something like 6 offensive players playing on defense. It's kind of like old two-way football, but they just flew around, worked hard, stayed close, and won it at the end.
I'll tell you, I like Stanford. I'm going to go with the Cardinals.
All right, I'll talk to you about it tomorrow morning.
All right. 4th down and goal. There's Bjornsson. Touchdown. A flag is down. A flag goes in. And it may be holding near the goal line.
Great effort on his part, but I think it is going to be holding against one of the Husky offensive linemen. Didn't need to be because he was ahead of the lineman and going into the end zone. Relatively penalty-free ball game here today.
Oh, what a thrill it would have been for that young redshirt freshman out of Oakland, California, Eric Bjornsson.
Holding, offense, still 4th down.
Just a holding call away from his first collegiate touchdown.
Well, watch the right guard as he steps around. Well, it's hard to tell. Really, it's hard to see from that standpoint. It doesn't show real clear, but obviously the official's right on top of it and close from where we are. We're almost like on top of the Goodyear blimp looking down. But nevertheless, the Huskies will have to go again. Don James not opting for a field goal at this stage.
There is Kaufman to the 6-yard line as he simply lost his balance and fell forward as he tried to juke through the right side. So Arizona will take over on downs, and it comes with 13:05 to play in the game. And there is Napoleon Kaufman, named to virtually every high school All-American team a year ago. He was California's Prep Player of the Year in 1990. Oh, is he exciting.
He really is. You know what's happening, Phil? We've seen him fall down like that about 3 times, and that's just strictly adrenaline working on his part. He is so anxious to make a move that he's just got all that forward body lean and all that shaking going on.
Antoine Carter runs into the back judge at the 17-yard line. Billy Prickett has come in at quarterback for Arizona. Lewis Jones on the tackle.
He was about ready to bust that into the secondary big time if that official gets out of the way. The umpire right in it. A little bit of a block tackle to slow him down.
And there is Prickett. He's a senior from Tucson, 6'1", 203 pounds. And now over the place.
A little back Arizona up, left tackle moved. Jumped across. Big John Fina. Surprised they haven't run a little more to their right side. Of course, they've tried to run virtually everywhere and had a whole lot of success. That last graphic, they were 0 yards rushing. A few plays back, a series of 2.
Ball start, offense, still first down.
That last rushing play was one of the better yardage gains they've had here this afternoon.
It is now 1st and 15 from their own 13-yard line. Arizona will come from the I. That is Antoine Carter, and he's going nowhere. Stood up and thrown down by Hillary Butler. If you can imagine, the book on Hillary Butler, number 45, is that he is both faster and stronger than Chico Fraley, whom he backs up, but he is not quite as natural as Fraley.
Washington making some adjustments defensively, throwing some 5-down lineman looks. One of their linebackers will get down with 4 linemen. And it creates a situation where Arizona has to go man-for-man blocking.
11:58 to play in the game. Pickett, there's the backward pass. It is caught. And out of bounds goes Lamont Lovett with a little help from William Doctor. There is Lamont Lovett. He had a 14-yard touchdown run a year ago versus the Huskies right here in that driving rainstorm.
William Doctor on the stop.
Boy, today it is a absolutely beautiful afternoon. And there is Collins. Brett Collins, a senior out of Portland, as he is popped right there.
Gets like a hyperextension of the knee. Had it locked underneath him on a blindside type of a block.
Cricket. Well, he is finding out what Mala'ulu found out all day long. Life is tough here in Dogland.
Mala'ulu sitting on the bench saying, hold him. He knows what it means to take that kind of a lick. Looking from the left side initially, just right by the offensive tackle at that stage. And then, of course, a bunch of purple jerseys to follow up and dump him.
That is the 7th sack by the Huskies today. Thus far on the year, Washington has 22. And if that doesn't lead the nation, it is close. Adam Grant will kick it away to Napoleon Kaufman, and out of bounds it goes. So the clock stops. Washington will have incredibly good field position at the Arizona 46.
Hey, look at this, a dog show. Dogs.
It was a nice looking lure. Troll for salmon with that.
From the 46-yard line, Washington has the football. Arizona trying to shut them down. There goes Napoleon Kaufman.
A little bit of a late hit.
Errol Morrison on the tackle, but not before Kaufman rambles for another 10. Thus far in this ball game, Kaufman 6 carries for 50 yards.
Not a bad average.
Now, last year in high school in Lompoc, California, Kaufman 34 touchdowns. That's just 1 year. He had 3 punt returns for TDs and a kickoff return for a touchdown. He wears number 8. There's a good chance he'll see the football. He's got it. Through the left side he goes, down near the 30-yard line.
See how fast he gets from his position to the line of scrimmage where the offensive line. Good surge by the offensive line, shoving back the Arizona defense. But Kaufman right up in the middle of it about the time they're making contact. And they've said that he has probably, without a doubt, the quickest release off the ball of any back they've had since Don James has been here. That's saying something.
Down near the 27 goes Darius Turner, and he is covered by Heath Bray. Now Washington will await the Rockets of Toledo a week from today here at Husky Stadium. And I'll tell you, if Toledo's watching this game this afternoon. They better get back on the practice field tonight.
Well, Gary Pinkel knows all about this Husky program. He had been with Don James at Kent State before he ever came out here to Seattle. So he spent about 25 years with Don James, and he knows his thinking, but he doesn't have the personnel to match up.
There's Kaufman. Face mask. Did they see it? I don't think so.
Yep, they did.
An inadvertent face mask. Corey Pittman, in trying to bring Kaufman down, his hand slipped up and grabbed that cage and pulled him down.
Kaufman hurt, comes to the sideline. There. Now he gets caught up in the crowd, but look at him come out of it. I mean, he's going sideways, forwards, and now you see the reach in, spins him around, catches him there. I don't think that was the injury when he went to the
Grabbing the
sideline.
face mask, half the distance to the goal line. First down, Washington. Timeout, Arizona.
Looked like he hurt his hand, Phil.
I think you're right. Finger injury to Napoleon Kaufman. The clock is stopped with 9:08 to play. Huskies 48, Arizona nothing.
The Ford Explorer has been
where 72,000 have come out to watch their Washington Huskies try and go 4-0, and they are 9:08 away.
And the Huskies, an absolutely impressive display of offense and defense, and there's a man that's not been shut out in 214 games, and he knows all they can do is endure at this stage.
Of course, that's 214 regular season games. You recall last December they were shut out on the Aloha Bowl by Syracuse.
Yes, that's rather surprising too for a Dick Tomey team. He is one of the real class people in coaching, and it's going to be his concern to get his players back, and you know he'll do it with real class and distinction to talk to his team and get them back mentally. They don't stay down long. He's got a lot of young guys, and he gets them back out there, and they get it going again.
There's Napoleon Kaufman for the 5-yard line. Touchdown, Washington.
He made it look easy. Terrific blocking. And a flag is down. So we'll wait and see. But look at this. The pitch, the down block by the tackle, the guard pulling, kick out block, inside cutoff block, receiver gets a block. All it is a gap for Napoleon to blow it on into the end zone. And he puts on a little exuberance to let you know how happy he is.
Count is good. Dead ball. Personal foul on the defense. Penalized on a kickoff.
Personal foul. And that's another thing that Dick Tomey does not like out of his players. Very adamant about that type of a penalty. So he will not be satisfied with that play.
Jason Crabb to attach the point after. It is down. And it is no good as he pushes it off to the right side. So the clock is stopped. 8:25 left in this one. And the Huskies continue to punish the Wildcats. Small craft warnings are out here in Seattle for the Arizona Wildcats, who, with 8:25 to play in this one, are trailing the third-ranked Washington Huskies 54-0. And you look at the last scoring drive for Washington, 6 plays, 46 yards. Napoleon Kaufman through the right side, 8 yards for the touchdown that put Washington up 54-0. You know, since the start of the 1990 season, last year, Washington has outscored Pac-10 opponents, Don, 479 to 112. There's Vaughn. He is hot right between the shoulder blades at the 33-yard line by Jay Wells.
Washington got a little bit clever there on their kick. Kicked it cross field, high and short, and Vaughn brought it right back in their face, despite the fact that he took a hit. He brought it out to their best return so far today, and they had, until this point, when he was kicking them down around the goal line, they were getting them back inside of the 20. Antoine Carter out of
the 40, near the 41. Billy Owens is now in at quarterback for Arizona. He's a sophomore from San Jose. He is ranked number 4 on the depth chart, behind Mala'ulu, behind Chuck Levy, and Billy Prickett.
You think Dick Tomey knew something? You know, you can only travel so many players, and he brings 4 quarterbacks.
Second down and 2. There is Carter again, trying to follow Hinsbergen and John Fina. And it is Shell Mays on the tackle. Scores around the nation in a tremendous come-from-behind victory for Bruce Snyder's Golden Bears. They down UCLA 27-24. It was Washington State delivering a 55-7 pasting of the Beavers of Oregon State.
And you look at the Ducks, they come off of 2 losses, which hasn't happened to Rich Brooks in a long time, for a nice victory over New Mexico there, 29-6.
Is Lamont Lovett as he is blasted by Paxton Talili. Other scores: Florida State, they trailed Syracuse 14-7 in the second quarter before Bobby Bowden's Seminoles got the wake-up call, and when it came, they were gone.
They certainly were. And there are the Hurricanes, the Canes, 40-3 over Oklahoma State, while Iowa State takes it on the chin from Oklahoma 29-8.
Oklahoma ranked number 1 in the nation in defense against the rush. The Huskies are ranked number 2. Antoine Carter, there is a great reason why. Oh, what a stop by Dante Robinson.
I like that name, Antoine Carter. Got a nice ring to it. Nobody even touches him. Watch him come flying in there to make the play on the right. Boom. Yes, yes. That's what you call a real gift. You get one of those kind of shots.
Arizona thus far on the ball game, 25 yards total on the ground. Coming in, Washington had given up 49 a game. Antoine Carter has 20 of the 25. And there goes Lamont Lovett, and again he runs into Paxton Talili. So Lovett and Talili are getting to know one another.
You sense a change in what's happened here, Phil? Arizona has chosen to forget throwing the football, other than if it's absolutely necessary. Gone to the ground game right now. Not put it up with the young quarterback in there. Take a chance for another interception or another turnover. And they've had a little bit of success running the ball, despite the fact that there are a lot of backup people in the ball game. One of them's late coming in now, the punt return team.
Will punt it away. It is Napoleon Kaufman standing at his own 10. And Grant this time is going to try and angle it for the sideline. And it takes an Arizona bounce. Out of bounds it goes.
Goes out of bounds.
Grant trying to find the Coffin corner, and he nails it at the 9-yard line. That'll stop the clock with 5:12 to go. And Washington, they took a 34-0 halftime lead. They attached 20 more here in the second half. Next Saturday, we're not exactly sure at this point where we will be for our Pac-10 Game of the Week. Those are the possibilities. We'll either be in Pullman, Berkeley, Corvallis, or in Los Angeles at the Rose Bowl. We invite you to check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Boy, what a beautiful evening it is here in Seattle, Washington, as you look at this packed Husky Stadium. 64,000 season tickets sold this year.
Well, Washington didn't get much out of that, if anything, Phil. But they would like to get 2 or 3 first downs out of this and run that clock down. They're bordering on another shutout, which, you know, from a defensive standpoint, the defensive players and coaches, you don't get many opportunities. And when you can do that, and particularly against a team like Arizona that had that record of 214 games, excluding bowls, scoring some points, you've done something. That sort of says it all. The discouraging look on Tony Bowie's face.
That is Eugene Harris. He is the 3rd string tailback as he moves the ball out near the 20, and a first down. Jamal Lee on the tackle, and there is Harris.
So you like Lou Holtz and the Stanfords against Lou tonight, huh, Phil?
I'm going to go for Denny Green. I think he's got one more surprise up his sleeve. They upset Notre Dame a year ago in South Bend. They're at home tonight, and you say the Irish have a long memory. I think the Stanford players want to show they got something to prove, and that last year was not a fluke. There goes Harris around the right side. He turns the corner, spins around the 360, and thrown down at the 35.
Nice
Harris,
job.
a junior out of Bellevue, Washington, right here in the Seattle area. Went to Newport High School. He is a junior, 5'11", 193 pounds.
Right across the lake there. It starts out to break over the right guard. Everybody closes down on it, so he just does the obvious and takes it to the outside. And then shagging him down there to make the play, he gets some nice yards to keep the clock moving. But you're right about Stanford and Denny Green. They are a much improved football team. It's a matter of whether their defense can hold up against that punishing offense of Notre Dame.
A fumble on the play. It is covered by Leif Johnson, and Washington will hold on to the football. Conversely, if you have just joined us in this ball game, Arizona, 4 fumbles, a pair of interceptions, 7+ turnovers for Washington today. They now on the year are +15 on the season.
That is a bunch.
Boy, is it a bunch. Washington 54, Arizona nothing, with 3:05 to play in the ball game.
It's only 4 games worth, too.
That's Harris. Runs through a couple of tackles, one by Heath Gray, who couldn't hold him. Out to the 40-yard line he goes, and James Hoffman tackles him. Well, we told you next week the Toledo Rockets are here at Husky Stadium. While Arizona, they will enter the Rose Bowl to take on the Bruins of UCLA, who were defeated today by California. And Don, California returns home next week. If they can win next week and Washington defeats Toledo 2 weeks from today in Berkeley, there's a possibility Washington and Cal will meet both 6-0.
Well, certainly Bruce Snyder has done a terrific job. There's no question about that. Back-to-back wins on UCLA in a 2-year period. First time in 18 years. And you get another change of personnel for the Huskies.
Now that's...
Can you reach down deep enough in
Tom
the roster?
Nakani. You bet. Tom Nakani's the quarterback, and that pitch right there went to the 5th-string tailback, Atika Huckabee.
Whoa! Good call. You know what a program that the Huskies have at this point in time, and Don James does, is not only their starters who are experienced, particularly their first unit, but they get to play so many backup people along the way that they gain valuable experience that they normally would never get. And it is a first down for the Huskies. So with 1:55 to go, the Huskies leading 54-0.
5 rushing touchdowns for Washington today, and now, Don, in 10 of their last 11 regular season games, the Huskies have scored at least 4 rushing TDs.
434 total yards today, Bill.
That's Eugene Harris, and he is thrown down from behind by Kevin Gosar.
Arizona, on the other hand, I believe 142 yards.
Total offense, only 30 on the ground, 112 through the air.
And that 30 on the ground has come here in the 4th quarter against a lot of 3rd and 4th stringers. You know, before the game, if you ever take a look at the Huskies, they have well over 100 people that come out on the field. They come all the way out to the 50-yard line, 12 across, go back to the back of the end zone. If you don't think that hasn't got to intimidate the other team that comes in, I think it is impressive.
Eugene Harris finds the lane wide open to the Wildcat 47-yard line before Chris Lopez tackles him. The Washington Huskies, with 20 second-half points today, have now outscored opponents in their 4 games 92-7 in the second half. Boy, talk about a closer. Boy, can they close a ball game.
Well, you know, that's kind of been a trademark forever with DJ, is that fourth quarter belongs to him, and they usually wear people down and win it in the fourth quarter.
Eugene Harris.
They didn't need to today, but an example was against Nebraska.
And that'll be the last play of this ball game. Washington's last shutout a year ago, right here on Prime Network. A 31-0 whitewashing of Southern Cal. Today, it is 54-0 over Arizona.
And as you look at Dick Tomey, he thought they were going to let it run out. Obviously very disgusted because they held 8 seconds on the clock. Now the officials let it run out. And there comes Don James to see Dick Tomey. What a pair of gentlemen and excellent coaches.
Final score, Washington, ranked number 3 in the nation, demolishes the Wildcats of Arizona 54-0. We're coming back to Husky Stadium in Seattle in a moment.